I always knew I was the one who held the balance, and now I feel it beginning to tip. The weight of what I've allowed is a quiet, constant ache. The first secret is already coming undone right here. What, there's more? The crowd was incredulous. In this dangerous situation, gathering 2 or 3 pounds already seemed very difficult, yet there's more. How is that possible? Wang Chengjian was in disbelief. This honey collection task was extremely challenging. Even if he went himself, he might not be able to collect 2 pounds. But when a layer of grass was lifted, there was indeed another pound. Lifting another layer, again there was a pound. Under the dumbfounded gazes of the crowd. Layer after layer there was honey. In the end, 10 whole pounds of honey were collected. Jiang Fan explained, there was too much honey, piling it together would easily crush and ruin it. So, each layer was separated with some dry grass to prevent damage. Liu Wuchen was so amazed he didn't know what to say. This amount almost equaled what other disciples collected in half a year. Liu Qingxian's eyes lit up with joy. Father, didn't I say junior brother Jiang is highly skilled? This left Liu Wuchen speechless. Jiang Fan had indeed completed the task splendidly, much better than the senior disciples. He cleared his throat and said, Jiang Fan's performance this time truly exceeded my expectations. An excellent evaluation, no objections, right? Hearing this, Wang Chengjian nodded blankly. No objections. With 10 pounds of honey right in front of him, could he say anything else? The disciples were full of sighs and exclamations. Who could have thought that the eldest senior brother, intending to trouble a newcomer, would end up being soundly taught a lesson by him? What an absurd turn of events. Liu Wuchen looked at the 10 pounds of honey and couldn't help but smile. All right, everyone can disperse. This was indeed good stuff. The female elders especially liked to use it for making spiritual tea or beauty cream. The usual collection wasn't enough to share among them. 10 pounds were enough for him to distribute as rewards for half a year. Father, haven't you forgotten a promise? Liu Qingxian cut in. You said if he got rated among the top 3, you'd give half the honey to Jiang Fan, right? Huh. Split half, wouldn't that be a whole 5 pounds? That's too much, isn't it? The disciples present were also so astonished their eyes were about to pop out. My goodness, each pound of this honey is worth 200 crystal stones. 5 pounds means 1,000 crystal stones? Wang Chengjian was even more jealous. He worked hard for a year and might not save up 1,000 crystal stones. Jiang Fan had only been here for 3 days and already received such a generous reward. Though Liu Wuchen was extremely reluctant, he couldn't go back on his public promise made earlier. He could only reluctantly reward Jiang Fan with 5 pounds. Jiang Fan wasn't stingy. He directly handed over 2 pounds to Liu Qingxian to repay her for the help before. Why are you giving it to me? Liu Qingxian waved her hand. You should sell it to Medicine Peak. They have a special recipe that can make an excellent beauty cream. Jiang Fan carefully recalled and remembered that there was a similar recipe mentioned in the Undying Medical Book. Selling it to Medicine Peak, I'd rather make it myself. All right, I'll make it and send you some, senior sister. No woman would refuse beauty, even those in their early 20s with the most lustrous skin. Liu Qingxian smiled wryly. Forget it. Medicine Peak closely guards this ointment. It's not enough even for their own female disciples. As the sect master's daughter, I can only buy 1 bottle a month, which is far from enough. Is that so? Jiang Fan smiled. Just wait and see, senior sister, carrying 5 pounds of honey back home, adding the initial 2 pounds he had collected and the pound Liu Qingxian gave him. He had a total of 8 pounds of honey. That's enough to make a big barrel of beauty cream. He decided to get started right away. Near lunchtime, as he looked at the beauty cream in the pot, a trace of joy appeared on his face. I just don't know how this beauty cream compares to Medicine Peak's. Find someone to test it. After finishing 5 bowls of rice in the dining hall, Jiang Fan took a few vials of beauty cream and left the sect, heading to Green Cloud City. This unknown effect beauty cream was better tested by the city's cultivators, because if it worked well, there was no problem. But if it caused issues and damaged someone's skin, he could just run away. If it damaged the skin of fellow female disciples, they would rush to Sect Master Peak and tear him apart. Free trial of beauty cream from the Green Cloud sect, free trial, free trial. He squatted by the main road in the city, holding a small sign, loudly shouting. Whether it was the word free that worked or the reputation of Green Cloud sect. Within a few shouts, many passing women stopped to watch. Among them was a woman dressed in colorful clothes with an outstanding temperament. Master, is this guy a scammer? How could a disciple of the Green Cloud sect be selling beauty cream here? Besides, isn't beauty cream a specialty of Medicine Peak? All their disciples are female, and he doesn't look like one of them. They were none other than the Spirit Beast sect group. Spirit Beast sect master Gong Caiyi, observing the jade bottle in Jiang Fan's hand, showed some surprise in her eyes. But the ointment in his hand doesn't look ordinary. It seems to be made using a lot of precious materials by a special method. She hadn't maintained her skin much after searching for little spiritual beasts for several days, so she gracefully sat down in front of Jiang Fan. "I would like to try it." Jiang Fan looked up and was stunned. Though she seemed to be in her 30s, her features were exquisite like a jade sculpture. In her youth, she must have been a breathtaking beauty. And with a unique temperament, her attire and demeanor were extraordinary, not like an ordinary woman. But so what? Anyway, they wouldn't have any interaction in the future. If her skin got damaged, she couldn't find him. "All right, try applying it on your hand." Gong Caiyi lightly chuckled and extended her jade hand. Despite good care, time had left its marks on her skin. Especially the tiger's mouth, the wrinkles were clear. No amount of makeup could cover it. Jiang Fan opened the medicine bottle, using a long jade chopstick to take a glob, gently massaging it as per the method described in the Undying Medical Book, allowing the medicinal power to evenly blend into every inch of skin. Gong Caiyi's eyes flashed with surprise. This technique didn't seem amateurish at all. "Wait here and observe your skin. Next." An hour later, all the ointment was used up. The spots where the women had applied it showed changes. "It's effective. The blemishes on my hand have faded." "Oh my, the freckles on my face are gone. Is this real?" Gong Caiyi also found with delight that the wrinkles on her tiger's mouth had significantly faded. Comparing both hands, the difference was striking. She couldn't help but exclaim, "Amazing, it's much better than Medicine Peaks. Just a casual stroll and I found something exceptional. Young man, I want to buy 10 bottles. Jiang Fan, seeing their positive reactions, relaxed completely. Next, he could confidently sell to the Green Cloud sect's female disciples. As for outsiders, even our people didn't have enough. Where would he sell to outsiders? "Not for sale, goodbye." Jiang Fan threw away the small sign, turned around, and left. Gong Caiyi's beautiful female disciple furrowed her brows. "We don't lack crystal stones, just name your price." She hadn't seen her master so delighted by a beauty product for a long time. Jiang Fan didn't turn back. "I said not for sale." The female disciple angrily said, "What do you mean by giving free trials and then not selling?" Gong Caiyi raised her hand to stop her from speaking further. With a warm smile, she said, "Young man, I am Gong Caiyi from the Spirit Beast sect. Can you make an exception and sell a few bottles?" Gong Caiyi, "Who is that?" Jiang Fan glanced at her and repeated, "Not for sale," then quickened his pace and briskly walked away. Gong Caiyi's expression stiffened slightly. Her pretty female disciple stomped her foot in anger. "This is outrageous. He doesn't even respect my master's face. I'll go bring him back." Gong Caiyi rubbed her forehead. "Do you think I haven't lost enough face already?" She never expected that after revealing her name, this little martial artist would not give her any face. The Spirit Beast sect master, is she really that lacking in prestige? Watching Jiang Fan's retreating figure, she couldn't help but pout slightly. "You brat, don't let me find out your background." Women hold grudges, no matter how high their status. Feeling quite pleased, Jiang Fan returned to Sect Master Peak. He saw the disciples all busy cleaning. Even the young lady Su Qiuning had been pulled out to help with the heavy work. "Senior sister, what's going on?" Seeing him, Su Qiuning immediately pouted and threw the broom to him in a fit of grievance. "Where did you go to have fun?" "The Spirit Beast Sect Master is visiting. She'll be meeting my father at Sect Master Peak in a while. I'm so exhausted from cleaning that my waist is about to break, and you're out there having fun." Who went out to have fun? Jiang Fan quietly took out a bottle of ointment and handed it to Su Qiuning. "This is for you." "What is it?" Su Qiuning opened it and took a sniff, a refreshing fragrance wafting out. She was astonished. "Medicine Peak's beauty cream? No, the scent is different." She tried a little on her hand. Her skin visibly turned more radiant, and she exclaimed in surprise, "The effect is even better than Medicine Peak's." "Junior brother, where did you get this?" Jiang Fan made a shushing gesture. "Do you want the whole world to know?" Su Qiuning leaned in closer, delighted. "Where did you buy it? Tell me quickly." Jiang Fan spoke mysteriously. "I made it myself. It's a family recipe. From now on, I'll be in charge of your beauty cream, senior sister." Su Qiuning was incredulous. The effect was actually better than Medicine Peak's. But hearing that Jiang Fan would handle the beauty cream from now on, she quickly dismissed her doubts. Who cares? As long as I have enough, it's fine. Senior sister didn't care for you in vain. You sit down, don't tire yourself, I'll do the sweeping. Jiang Fan touched his nose. The beauty cream's effect not only beautified, but also made women become more gentle. Jiang Fan, everyone is busy, and you're slacking off here. Wang Chengjian was overseeing the disciples' busy work. Seeing Jiang Fan and Liu Qingxian close together from a distance, he felt uncomfortable and walked over to reprimand. Do you know the spirit beast sect master is arriving soon? Liu Qingxian frowned and said, Who said junior brother Jiang is slacking off? He is. Thinking quickly, she took out the beauty cream. He has prepared a welcome gift for the spirit beast sect master. Wang Chengjian looked at the ordinary jade bottle and the sticky ointment inside. He said sternly, Jiang Fan, do you know who the spirit beast sect master is? She is one of the 9 great masters, highly esteemed. The things she uses are rare treasures, and you want to give this crude ointment as a welcome gift from Sect Master Peak. Aren't you afraid of making a laughing stock of us, letting Reincarnation Peak mock us? Jiang Fan was at a loss for words. Why did Liu Qingxian use the beauty cream as a reason? Who was the spirit beast sect master? This insignificant thing could never be a welcome gift. Liu Qingxian stubbornly said, Jiang Fan's ointment is really effective. Maybe the spirit beast sect master would like it. The more she favored Jiang Fan, the more uncomfortable Wang Chengjian felt. He was about to scold Jiang Fan a few more times. Suddenly, he had a flash of inspiration. He changed his attitude, took the beauty cream with a smile. Really? Since junior brother Jiang has put in this thought, let it be the welcome gift for the spirit beast sect master later. I'll keep it safe for now. Putting it into his robe, he turned to supervise elsewhere. Since you said this is the welcome gift, then let's send it to the spirit beast sect master as you wish. Such a worthless thing, giving it as a welcome gift. She'll probably get angry. By then, master will definitely be furious, and Jiang Fan would get a severe punishment. Liu Qingxian also realized she had caused trouble. Jiang Fan, what should we do using this thing as a welcome gift? The spirit beast sect master won't be happy, right? Liu Qingxian apologized. Jiang Fan rubbed his brow. What if she likes it? What if? Liu Qingxian gave a bitter smile. You don't understand the spirit beast sect master. She is famous for her ageless beauty, and she is incredibly picky about beauty treasures. Even though this is effective, she might not fancy it. Jiang Fan sighed, feeling helpless. I said it's just a possibility. Even he didn't believe that could happen. Suddenly, a group of phoenix-like birds flew from afar. Liu Wuchen walked out of the hall, his spirit invigorated. Get ready to welcome her, the spirit beast sect master is here. The spirit beast sect is a staunch ally of our green cloud sect. Do not show any disrespect. If you disturb her, I will severely punish you. Everyone responded solemnly. Liu Qingxian sensed trouble and quietly nudged Jiang Fan, whispering, Maybe you should hide for a while. Given the current situation, that was probably the best option. However, he couldn't hide too far in case Liu Wuchen called for him. Looking around, he quietly slipped to a corner of the hall, listening silently to the movements there. Gong Caiyi led 2 disciples as they descended slowly. She was wearing colorful robes, with a graceful figure and a beautiful and dignified appearance. Her elegant temperament did not lack majesty. The stunning impression she gave was no less than that of the young female disciples present. Sect Master Gong, it's been a long time. What brings you to our green cloud sect? Liu Wuchen stepped forward to greet her with a smile, while pondering her intentions. Feeling the urge to move after being still for too long, I wanted to take a walk. Passing through the green cloud sect's territory, I thought I'd come to visit. Gong Caiyi smiled lightly. She didn't mention anything about searching for that little spiritual beast. Liu Wuchen didn't believe Gong Caiyi would come without a reason, but he didn't ask further and said, Please come and sit in the hall. At this moment, Wang Chengjian stepped forward. Sect Master Gong, please wait. Some of my junior brothers and sisters were very excited about your arrival and have prepared some small gifts for you. Please kindly accept them. Gong Caiyi was still quite pleased with that. It showed that she was truly liked by the disciples of the sect Master Peak. Really? Let me see. Gong Caiyi smiled with interest. Wang Chengjian placed the gifts on a tray, including Jiang Fan's gift. Moreover, it was in the most prominent position. Gong Caiyi raised her eyes. One by one, the gifts, though not exceptionally valuable, were absolutely exquisite, making her very happy. However, when her gaze fell on a rough jade bottle, her smile froze. She couldn't help but wonder if she was seeing things. Turning to look at her pretty female disciple, the latter was also staring dumbfounded at the jade bottle. Isn't this the beauty cream from the roadside in Green Cloud City, the one that young man refused to sell to them? She couldn't even buy it, yet it appeared here as a welcome gift, right in front of her. She couldn't help but pick up the jade bottle, secretly pleased, and asked, "Who sent this?" Xianxia, who had been watching her closely, felt a pang of anxiety. Sure enough, what I was afraid of happened. Compared to the other gifts, the jade bottle seemed too shoddy. Moreover, Wang Chengjian had deliberately placed it in a prominent position, so it was immediately noticed. Liu Qingsyan's mind was in turmoil. Liu Wuchen was also drawn to the jade bottle that Gong Caiyi picked up. His eyelids twitched violently. This looked like something someone had thrown away. How could it be placed among the welcome gifts? Was this not deliberately embarrassing Gong Caiyi? "Whose is this?" he asked angrily. Wang Chengjian smiled. Everything was going as he had anticipated. In fact, the effect was even better than he had expected. This time, Jiang Fan would not just lose face. It was going to be much worse. He cupped his hands and said, "Master, Sect Master Gong, this is the welcome gift from our junior brother on Sect Master Peak, Jiang Fan." "Jiang Fan?" Liu Wuchen's eyebrows immediately shot up. He scanned the disciples with a sharp gaze, finding no trace of Jiang Fan, and shouted, "Jiang Fan, get over here." Truly, he was more trouble than he was worth. If you were going to give a gift, either don't give one or pick something more appropriate. Giving a broken bottle, was that a deliberate insult? Hiding in a corner, Jiang Fan sighed, knowing he could not escape. He emerged from the corner, scanning the crowd, and his gaze was immediately drawn to a woman in colorful clothes. He was instantly stunned. Wasn't this the woman who had tried his beauty cream for free by the roadside? She had called herself Gong something Ye. He had even refused to sell her the beauty cream. She was actually the spirit beast sect master. Jiang Fan felt bitterness in his mouth. Was he cursed lately? How could he be so unlucky? First, he offended a big figure, and now she had come to his place. He must not let her recognize his face. Jiang Fan covered his face with his sleeve and walked out cautiously, speaking in a muffled voice, "Master, Sect Master Gong." Liu Wuchen frowned. "Why are you covering your face with your sleeve?" Jiang Fan replied, "I fell and hurt my face just now. It might disturb Sect Master Gong. Please forgive me, Master and Sect Master Gong." "Then what's wrong with your voice?" Liu Wuchen asked again. Jiang Fan said, "It's because of a cold." In the distance, Liu Qingsyan did not know whether to cry or laugh. He truly felt bad for Jiang Fan. Liu Wuchen only felt that Jiang Fan had thoroughly embarrassed Sect Master Peak today. Angrily, he asked, "Do you know what a foolish thing you've done?" Jiang Fan smiled bitterly. "Could you blame me? Blame your good daughter and your senior disciple. I'm really wronged." Wang Chengjian sneered, waiting to see a good show. What followed would surely be spectacular, he thought. Unexpectedly, to his surprise, Gong Caiyi said, "Sect Master Liu has misunderstood. I really like this beauty cream." Ah, this thing that looked so cheap, would the dignified spirit beast Sect Master really like it? Liu Wuchen was stunned for a moment, then said, "Sect Master Gong, I know you are protecting this kid. Don't bother. If we don't discipline disciples with no discernment, it will lead to trouble sooner or later. Come on, take him." Gong Caiyi quickly raised her hand to stop him, seriously saying, "Sect Master Liu really has misunderstood. This beauty cream is the best I've ever used. It's strange that none of you recognize it. Why would you consider such a good thing as something worthless?" The entire room fell into collective shock. Everyone stared at the bottle of beauty cream without blinking. This unimpressive item had received such high praise from the famously picky Gong Caiyi. Wang Chengjian was taken aback. He had intended to embarrass Jiang Fan. He stepped forward and said, "Sect Master Gong, are you perhaps mistaken? This is just something unworthy of notice. Please do not demean yourself." Gong Caiyi frowned slightly and gave him a glance. "The Sect Master personally used this and has her own judgment." "Is it your place to instruct the Sect Master?" Wang Chengjian was startled. Finally realizing he had been too hasty, he hurriedly bowed and apologized while retreating. Liu Wuchen also understood that Gong Caiyi genuinely liked this welcome gift. He felt relieved, smiling as he patted Jiang Fan on the shoulder. "Jiang Fan, this time your gift was the most thoughtful. You will receive an additional 100 crystal stones this month." Jiang Fan escaped a disaster, saying, "Thank you, Master." Liu Qingsyan also breathed a sigh of relief, genuinely happy for Jiang Fan. It seemed he was safe. Gong Caiyi, however, curiously asked, "Jiang Fan, right? Can you tell the Sect Master where this beauty cream came from?" One bottle was far from enough. After Jiang Fan left, she found that the efficacy of the beauty cream still continued, making the skin on her hands softer, like someone in their early 20s. Compared to the skin on the back of her hand, the difference was huge. Such a top-grade product, she must apply it all over her body, right? So one bottle was nowhere near enough. She must buy 100 bottles. Jiang Fan hesitated. I saw some disciples selling it at the square by accident. Out of curiosity, I bought one. If Sect Master Gong wants it, I can have a disciple look for it in the square. Maybe they can find the person. Oh, I see. Gong Caiyi nodded slightly. Liu Wuchen saw that the situation had calmed down, so he said at the right moment, "Sect Master Gong, please come inside." Gong Caiyi nodded and followed him into the main hall. Only then did Jiang Fan let out a real sigh of relief. So close, he almost got exposed. He couldn't imagine what would happen if Gong Caiyi found out he was the young man who had refused to sell her the cream. It surely wouldn't end well. In the distance, Liu Qingxian waved at him, so he quickly ran over and the two sneaked away quietly. However, after walking a few steps, Gong Caiyi suddenly grew suspicious. Why would a man buy beauty cream? Moreover, why would he think this beauty cream would be to her liking and not offensive? She suddenly turned around and saw Jiang Fan almost at the corner. She had not doubted before, but now looking at Jiang Fan's back, he felt familiar. It seemed this Jiang Fan had a similar build to the young man who had sold the ointment. Thinking of this, she immediately called out, "That disciple named Jiang Fan, come back." Jiang Fan was about to leave. Suddenly being called, his face turned green. Impossible, could he be this unlucky? Being called by name, he had no choice but to come back, covering his face with his sleeve again. In a muffled voice, he said, "Sect Master Gong, what are your orders?" Seeing his sneaky manner, Gong Caiyi was completely certain. The Jiang Fan before her was the young man who sold the ointment. Thinking of how he had not given her any face, she felt both amused and annoyed. With a teasing tone and a half-smile, she said, Why does your voice sound different from just now?" Jiang Fan's heart sank. Was he overdoing it? He quickly covered it up with a cough, saying, "It's because of the cold. I can't control it." Sect Master Gong chuckled, finding it amusing. "Really? Why do I find you so familiar? Have we met somewhere before?" Jiang Fan felt deeply troubled. At this point, he could no longer misunderstand. He had been recognized. He awkwardly took down his sleeve and said sheepishly, "Green Cloud Sect Inner Sect Disciple Jiang Fan meets Sect Master Gong." "It's you!" The pretty female disciple beside him recognized him at once, angrily gripping the handle of her sword, about to draw it and cut him down. Gong Caiyi waved her hand to stop her and with a playful look in her eyes said, "You and this sect master truly have a fateful connection." "That's a misfortune. It's a misfortune," Jiang Fan complained in his heart. Who could have thought that the esteemed sect master of the Spirit Beast sect would run to a roadside stall to try out free beauty cream? He was more wrong than do with the situation as it was. He could only obediently apologize. "Sect Master Gong, it's my fault for not recognizing you. Even when you gave your name, I still couldn't sell it to you." Gong Caiyi's face flushed with embarrassment. Is that something to say in public? Doesn't she care about her reputation? She hurriedly stretched out her hand, covering Jiang Fan's mouth, tightening her tone. Enough with the unnecessary words. Everyone present was dumbfounded. What's going on? The Spirit Beast sect master covered Jiang Fan's mouth with her hand. Isn't that a bit too intimate? Before Gong Caiyi could respond, Jiang Fan himself felt something was wrong and quickly stepped back. The soft warmth of her jade hand still lingered on his lips. He hastily said, "Sect Master Gong, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first." Trying to leave, Gong Caiyi snorted in her heart, almost embarrassing her in public and now thinking to leave without a word. But what could she do if she kept Jiang Fan here? Have a proper discussion about the embarrassing roadside stall incident. Suddenly, she remembered something and said, "Sect Master Liu, I plan to stay a few more days at Green Cloud Sect. I need someone familiar with the sect to show me around." Liu Wuchen was naturally very happy. Without thinking, he summoned Wang Chengjian. "This is my senior disciple. He's been in the Green Cloud Sect for many years and knows every blade of grass and tree. For the next few days, let him stay by your side." Wang Chengjian was overjoyed beyond expectation. This was a great opportunity. As a guest, Sect Master Gong would surely be generous to those who assist her, right? She must give substantial rewards, otherwise it would weaken her own reputation and that of the Spirit Beast sect. "Sect Master Gong, disciple Wang Chengjian is at your service anytime." Unexpectedly, Gong Caiyi didn't even look at him and kept gazing at the dodging eyes of Jiang Fan with a half-smile. The more Jiang Fan acted this way, the more she found it amusing. Who wanted to accompany her wasn't important. Why not choose someone interesting? No need, I think Jiang Fan is quite good, let him accompany me. Huh. Everyone was dumbfounded, ignoring the senior disciple, choosing a newcomer disciple. For a moment, everyone couldn't help but doubt the relationship between the two. Liu Wuchen looked worried. Sect Master Gong, Jiang Fan is a newcomer, he might not be very capable. Gong Caiyi remembered how Jiang Fan refused her purchase 3 times in a row. That decisiveness didn't seem like he was incapable. No need, I just want him, Gong Caiyi insisted. Liu Wuchen had no choice but to instruct Jiang Fan. Since Sect Master Gong values you, make sure you perform well and be at her service any time, understood? Jiang Fan felt a bitterness in his mouth. There was no need to imagine what ill intentions this woman had by naming him. He quickly declined. Sect Master Gong, you should have my senior brother come instead. I am new here, not familiar with the Green Cloud sect. Brat, trying to escape. Can you escape? Gong Caiyi was adamant, playfully saying, what a coincidence, I'm not familiar either. Just the right timing for us to get familiar together. Damn it, just because I didn't sell you the thing, you hold a grudge for this. Jiang Fan was speechless. Liu Wuchen also felt bewildered. He couldn't but think there was some private grudge between Gong Caiyi and Jiang Fan. Helplessly, he said, since Sect Master Gong insists, Jiang Fan make sure to heed her commands. Jiang Fan was 100 times unwilling in his heart, but he could only reply with a sullen yes. The disciples were left speechless. This kind of good assignment, they couldn't even dream of getting it, yet given to Jiang Fan, he actually didn't want it. Such a full man who doesn't understand the hunger of the starving. Seeing him so displeased, Gong Caiyi became even more content. She casually took out a jade bottle and threw it to Jiang Fan. This is your reward, this sect master won't treat you poorly. Jiang Fan instinctively caught it. Seeing the brownish unknown liquid inside, he asked in surprise, for demon beasts to drink? Gong Caiyi's eyebrows twitched. What? Is the spirit beast sect only capable of refining things for demon beasts? Isn't it? Jiang Fan showed a questioning expression. Gong Caiyi was so angry she almost stomped her foot. How could this brat always get on her nerves? Liu Wuchen saw the item and was secretly shocked, quickly patting Jiang Fan. Hurry up and thank Sect Master Gong. This is Earth Phoenix Grass Juice, which can enhance the Foundation Establishment realm. It's a unique treasure of the Spirit Beast sect. It requires special spirit beasts to burrow deep underground to collect. Normally, even Spirit Beast sect disciples rarely get such a reward. The pretty female disciple beside them also showed a jealous look. Giving it to Jiang Fan, she hadn't received such a reward even a few times herself. Only then did Jiang Fan realize it was a treasure. He happily accepted it and smiled. Thank you, Sect Master Gong. Seeing how quickly he changed his demeanor, Gong Caiyi said angrily, so pragmatic. You should be in the early Foundation establishment, right? This bottle is only enough to enhance half a realm. You need 2 bottles. Depending on your performance, if you satisfy me, I'll give you another bottle. Come here tomorrow morning and wait for me. Only then did Jiang Fan realize that Gong Caiyi had no ill intentions. He said, yes, Sect Master Gong. With that, Gong Caiyi was invited into the main hall by Liu Wuchen. The senior brothers and sisters were so envious that their eyes almost popped out. Junior brother, you have such luck. Why are you so favored by Sect Master Gong? Indeed, as far as I know, Earth Phoenix Grass Juice is rarely enjoyed even by Spirit Beast sect disciples. Sect Master Gong actually rewarded you, it doesn't make sense. Jiang Fan smiled. He naturally knew it was because Gong Caiyi needed a lot of beauty cream, but that wasn't something to speak of. It's all due to the blessings of senior brothers and sisters, Jiang Fan said modestly. At this moment, Wang Chengjian walked through the crowd with a dark look on his face, silently staring at Jiang Fan. It was clear he was very unhappy. This kind of task for receiving guests had always been done by the senior brother. This time, it fell to Jiang Fan. What frustrated Wang Chengjian was that Jiang Fan hadn't even competed for it. He even tried to decline multiple times. But Gong Caiyi had insisted on Jiang Fan. He could only advise, you can visit any other peak but avoid taking Sect Master Gong to Reincarnation Peak. You understand the underlying reasons, right? Jiang Fan nodded. Thank you, senior brother, for the reminder. Reincarnation Peak had always been at odds with Sect Master Peak. Both openly and secretly, they were competing with Sect Master Peak. If Sect Master Gong were brought to Reincarnation Peak, The great elder and his disciples would undoubtedly show off its strength in front of her and step over Sect Master Peak. This would weaken the image of Sect Master Peak. It could even affect the alliance between the two sides. With everyone dispersing, Jiang Fan returned to his cave dwelling with the earth phoenix grass juice. Upon entering, he found someone unexpectedly there, startled. "How did you get in?" The visitor was none other than Liu Qingxian. Liu Qingxian snorted and pulled out a key. "I came in openly and honestly." Jiang Fan hurriedly checked his key and found it was still there. He immediately understood that Liu Qingxian had used her connections as the sect master's daughter to obtain a spare key. "Elder sister, wasn't this inappropriate?" Jiang Fan slightly frowned. No matter how good their relationship was, he still hoped for a bit of personal space. Liu Qingxian felt a sense of distance. She placed the spare key on the table and said in a muffled voice, "First, check your residence and see if anything is missing." Upon closer inspection, Jiang Fan discovered that the room was full of scratches. Many items were damaged. A thief had broken in. He hurried to check the beauty cream and the foundation establishment pill and black soul bone healing ointment materials hidden under the bed. All were intact. The only thing missing was the little spiritual beast he had tied up tightly. Seeing the bite marks on the vine, he realized what had happened. It was that cunning little spiritual beast that had broken free and wreaked havoc in the room. "Elder sister, did you sense something wrong in my residence and come to check with the spare key?" Jiang Fan realized he might have misunderstood Liu Qingxian. Sure enough, she turned her head away. Her eyes were slightly red. This, Jiang Fan didn't know how to placate her. He went back inside and fetched a few bottles of beauty cream. "Elder sister, Sect Master Gong took the beauty cream earlier. Here's a new bottle for you." Liu Qingxian choked. "I don't want it. Don't think you can bribe me." Jiang Fan said, "How about 2 bottles?" Liu Qingxian hesitated, humming, "I won't forgive you." "3 bottles then? Stop it. 4 bottles? Don't do this. 5 bottles." All right, that's enough, too much. I can't use them all at once." Seeing Liu Qingxian happily hugging 5 bottles of beauty cream, her tears turned to laughter. Jiang Fan touched his nose. There was nothing that a bottle of beauty cream couldn't solve for a woman. If there was, then 5 bottles would do. "Jiang Fan, what happened to your room? When I came over, I heard wailing ghosts and spirits inside, like a thief had broken in." Looking at the completely ruined residence, Jiang Fan said with a dark face, "What like?" "It was a thief. It had better not come again. If it dares, I'll deal with it harshly." Liu Qingxian nodded. "You'd better be careful. A thief daring to come to the Sect Master Peak is not ordinary." Seeing her off, Jiang Fan closed the door. After tidying up a bit, he considered that leaving the materials out was unsafe. So he decided to refine them into top-grade foundation establishment pills and black soul bone healing ointment on the spot. By the time he was done, it was dawn. He carried the 10 top-grade foundation establishment pills and 9 bottles of top-grade bone healing ointment with him. The bucket of beauty cream was not safe to leave at home either. Thinking it over, he decided to take it along as well. In front of the main hall, Gong Caiyi was astonished. "Are you sure you didn't hear wrong? Jiang Fan has no spirit root." The beautiful female disciple with the beautiful name Yuan Jiu nodded and said, "I've asked several female disciples. It's true he has no spirit root." Gong Caiyi was slightly taken aback. What a surprise! The Sect Master Peak actually took in a disciple with no spirit root. Never mind, he's not from my spirit beast sect, so it doesn't matter if he has a spirit root or not. At this moment, she could see Jiang Fan from afar, a bag hanging in front of his chest, a large wooden bucket strapped to his back. She couldn't help but smile. "Are you planning to take me on a long journey?" Jiang Fan said helplessly. "A thief broke into my house. I had no choice but to carry my valuable belongings with me." He set down the large wooden bucket, uncovered the cloth lid, revealing a large bucket of beauty cream and said, "Sect Master Gong, please take a container to fill some." Gong Caiyi was overjoyed. "So much. Jiu, quickly get something to fill it up." She was worried that Jiang Fan might not have 100 bottles, but here was a large bucket enough for several hundred bottles. Yuan Jiu was also tongue-tied, quickly fetching a small bucket and filling it to the brim. There was enough for Gong Caiyi to bathe in it. Jiang Fan didn't mind. In comparison, that bottle of earth phoenix grass juice was much more valuable than these beauty creams. Gong Caiyi looked at Jiang Fan with more favor and eagerly asked, "Where do you plan to take me first?" Jiang Fan had already mapped out the route. "Heavenly Sword Peak." The elder of Heavenly Sword Peak had been notified. Leading all the disciples of the peak, they specially came to greet them at the foot of the peak. Li Qingfeng was full of excitement. Elder Li Qingfeng of Green Cloud Sect welcomes Sect Master Gong. The news of Sect Master Gong visiting the Green Cloud Sect had spread far and wide. Knowing she was planning to tour Green Cloud Peak, the elders of the various peaks had made ample preparations. It was just that they didn't know which peak the Sect Master would visit first. This signified which peak the Sect Master valued the most. Li Qingfeng never expected that Gong Caiyi's first stop would be their unremarkable Heavenly Sword Peak. This made Li Qingfeng feel overjoyed. Gong Caiyi nodded and smiled lightly. "Elder Li, you are too kind. We are just here for a casual stroll." Li Qingfeng said joyfully, "Sect Master Gong, please allow me to introduce our peak." Gong Caiyi nodded. But she did not forget Jiang Fan, turning to say, "Jiang Fan, you should come along too." It was then that she noticed. Jiang Fan had sneaked off to the back sometime, flirting with two extremely beautiful female disciples. Hearing them call him husband, Gong Caiyi was even more astonished. These two disciples, who could be considered the epitome of beauty, were actually both Jiang Fan's wives. How did he manage to persuade them to share a husband? And Jiang Fan wasn't stingy with them either, giving each a small bucket of beauty cream. This made Gong Caiyi suddenly realize. No wonder Jiang Fan's first stop was Heavenly Sword Peak. He was using the pretense of a tour to visit his wives. This made Gong Caiyi quite irate. "Jiang Fan," she shouted. Hearing her, Jiang Fan had to hastily bid farewell to Xu Youran and Chen Silin, hurrying over and saying, "Sect Master Gong, what are your orders?" Gong Caiyi opened her mouth, but the reproach she felt shrank back. What was wrong with seeing his wives? It hadn't caused any delay. She didn't even know where to start reprimanding, so she could only lightly hum. "Elder Li wants to introduce Heavenly Sword Peak. Don't you want to tour around?" Jiang Fan touched his nose. Touring Heavenly Sword Peak wasn't as enjoyable as being with his wives. But his duty was to accompany Sect Master Gong on her leisure tour. "Please, Elder Li, lead the way." Jiang Fan smiled at Li Qingfeng. The always displeased Li Qingfeng was stunned. He then understood why Sect Master Gong had come to Heavenly Sword Peak first. It wasn't because Heavenly Sword Peak was particularly valued by Gong Caiyi, but because Jiang Fan's wives were here. Gong Caiyi had been coaxed here by Jiang Fan. This greatly dampened Li Qingfeng's excitement, but what made him even more uncomfortable was that he, a high and mighty peak master, had to personally introduce Heavenly Sword Peak to the displeasing Jiang Fan. What a situation this was. Ding Wanping, mixed among the disciples, watched as Jiang Fan walked at the front with an air of confidence, while he had to follow closely behind with a face full of displeasure. Assuming power through others. Suddenly, he remembered something and caught up to Li Qingfeng, whispering, "Master, why not invite Sect Master Gong to see our Heavenly Sword Peak sword tomb? This is the unique feature of our Heavenly Sword Peak, and we can also let Sect Master Gong draw a sword as a gift." Li Qingfeng slightly frowned. Sect Master Gong is not skilled with swords. Drawing the wrong one could be embarrassing. The swords in the sword tomb were infused with sword qi over the years, latent yet potent. Randomly drawing a sword might cause the sword qi to burst forth, leading to an awkward situation. Ding Wanping pointed at Jiang Fan. "Such a task cannot be entrusted to Sect Master Gong. Let Jiang Fan draw instead." Li Qingfeng's eyes lit up. He also disliked Jiang Fan. Along the way, he explained Heavenly Sword Peak to him, making him very uncomfortable. Perfect, it was time to sort out Jiang Fan, suppress his arrogance a bit. Therefore, he smiled. "Sect Master Gong, our Heavenly Sword Peak has a sword tomb. It cultivates 108 top-quality swords. Please, Sect Master Gong, take a step over here." Gong Caiyi nodded gladly. She had long heard of the reputation of Green Cloud Sect's Heavenly Sword Peak. Although the swordsmanship of this peak was not considered top-notch, its collection of famous swords was the best among the 9 sect. She also wanted to see what good swords there were. The group arrived at the middle of Heavenly Sword Peak, in front of a huge stone wall. Many sword qi engravings crisscrossed on the stone wall. A powerful sword qi lingered faintly above, ready to burst out and hurt people at any time. One unique long sword after another was inserted into the stone wall. Each one shimmered with spirit light, at least a mid-grade magic artifact. Moreover, they were excellent even among mid-grade magic artifacts. Jiang Fan couldn't help but be surprised again and again as he looked. There wasn't a single sword here that was inferior to Xu Youran's green sword. There were even countless better ones. "What does Sect Master Gong think?" Li Qingfeng asked proudly. Gong Caiyi did not hold back her praise. It truly lives up to its reputation. Even though she did not use a sword, she could feel that each of these swords was extraordinary. Li Qingfeng said, "If Sect Master Gong likes, you may choose one as a token of my goodwill." Gong Caiyi's eyes brightened slightly. Who wouldn't like a good sword? Even if she didn't use it, it was good for collection. "Then I thank you, Peak Master Li." Saying that, she walked towards the stone wall, intending to take a long sword with a black hilt. Li Qingfeng hurriedly said, "Sect Master Gong, please wait. These famous swords have been tempered by time, containing sword qi, and require high-level swordsmanship to retrieve them, otherwise they will harm the body." Yuan Jiu nodded. "Master, it is indeed so. These swords cannot be touched lightly. They need swordsmanship to guide the sword qi away." She had practiced swordsmanship since she was young, and was one of the few swordsmanship experts in the Spirit Beast sect. At a glance, she recognized the extraordinariness of the sword tomb. Gong Caiyi nodded. "Then you retrieve that black sword for me." Yuan Jiu bowed her head. "Yes, master." Confidently, she came to the sword tomb, leaped into the air, and grasped the sword hilt, pulling it out forcefully. Hiss, a strong sword qi burst out through the wall as soon as the hilt moved, shooting straight at Yuan Jiu. Yuan Jiu was startled. This sword qi was much stronger than she had anticipated. In haste, she drew her own sword, trying to guide the sword qi away, but the fierce sword qi directly knocked her sword from her hand. She was also thrown out and landed on the ground quite awkwardly. With so many people watching, Yuan Jiu's face turned beet red. She returned to Gong Caiyi's side in shame. "Master, I am incompetent." Gong Caiyi also felt ashamed and said, "Forget it, this sword is not destined for me." This made Li Qingfeng anxious. His intention was to make Jiang Fan embarrassed, but instead, Yuan Jiu took the blow for Jiang Fan. This left Gong Caiyi looking bad as well. He couldn't help but glare viciously at Ding Wanping. "Look at the terrible idea you came up with." Jiang Fan hesitated for a moment. If he really let Gong Caiyi leave like this, his mission would be considered a failure, wouldn't it? So he cupped his hands and said, "Sect Master Gong, if you like this sword, I can retrieve it for you." "You?" Gong Caiyi looked surprised. "Are you good at swordsmanship too?" In her mind, she had already labeled Jiang Fan as having no spirit root. Since he had no spirit root, anything related to the martial path should be beyond him. Jiang Fan said, "I know a little." Yuan Jiu, still fuming from her embarrassment, saw Jiang Fan stepping forward recklessly and said sarcastically, "You better forget it. This sword qi is not just strong ordinarily, don't think I was just knocked down. You might get hurt and then we wouldn't be able to explain to your master." Jiang Fan said, "Don't worry." He then walked straight to the stone wall. This caused Li Qingfeng and Ding Wanping to show a mocking expression. Finally, Jiang Fan was stepping up. Let's see how he embarrasses himself. They saw Jiang Fan use his movement technique and agilely climb straight up the steep wall. Then he grasped the sword hilt and pulled it out with the force of shocking thunder. The vast sword qi within surged out like a bursting seawall. Jiang Fan quickly and decisively used lonely star points, guiding the incoming sword qi, shooting it far away. Crash, a tree as thick as a person was struck by the sword qi and snapped in response. Jiang Fan made a stylish flip, holding the black sword, and handed it to Gong Caiyi. "Here." Gong Caiyi was stunned. Yuan Jiu was stunned. Li Qingfeng and Ding Wanping were also stunned. He actually succeeded in drawing the sword unscathed. "You're quite something," Gong Caiyi exclaimed in surprise. Others thought she was praising Jiang Fan's swordsmanship. In fact, she was admiring Jiang Fan's movement technique. Others hadn't noticed, but she saw that Jiang Fan had used some movement technique. And movement technique always required extremely high comprehension to grasp. Among the 9 sect, there were very few martial artists proficient in movement technique. Yuan Jiu was dumbfounded. She even began to doubt the information she had gathered on Jiang Fan. Was he really without a spirit root? How could he seem completely different? Li Qingfeng was also shocked, stroking his beard. "Strange, his swordsmanship is actually quite good." "Could it be I really misjudged him before?" Ding Wanping clenched his teeth. He had not only failed to embarrass Jiang Fan, but he had let Jiang Fan show off. Unwilling, he said, "Just a little crude sword technique, nothing worth mentioning." Gong Caiyi gave him a glance. No matter what, Jiang Fan was her chosen companion. Was he someone everyone could belittle? She said indifferently, "Elder Li, your disciple seems quite extraordinary. Can he demonstrate how to retrieve a sword? It would be good for Jiang Fan to learn from his superb swordsmanship as well." This, Li Qingfeng was embarrassed. If the swords in the sword tomb were so easy to take, he wouldn't have intentionally made things difficult for Jiang Fan. Although Ding Wanping's cultivation was high, he had never tried to retrieve a sword. He might not succeed. Ding Wanping, however, felt he had been belittled and more so, had been outdone by Jiang Fan in front of Heavenly Sword Peak. How could he stand that, saying, "Since Sect Master Gong has said so, I will show my incompetence." He rushed to the stone wall, leaped into the air, drew the sword. Hiss, a powerful sword chi far beyond his control, directly blasted him several feet away. He crashed heavily onto a stone table, groaning in pain as he lay on the ground. Chuckled Yuan Jiu couldn't help but laugh. "Is that it? You're no better than me." Gong Caiyi also felt satisfied. So noisy and looking down on Jiang Fan's swordsmanship. "Is this all?" She stood up and said, "Jiang Fan, take me to see the peak with the best swordsmanship here." She was now curious. What level was Jiang Fan's swordsmanship exactly? From the performance just now among his peers, he should be top middle level, right? Find a few swordsmanship geniuses to test his skills. Thus, soon after, they appeared at Carefree Peak. Zhao Wuji flared up as soon as he saw Jiang Fan. "You brat, you still dare to come to my Carefree Peak." Jiang Fan sighed helplessly, cupping his hands and saying, "Elder Zhao, I had no choice." Gong Caiyi, standing nearby, was stunned. She muttered, "You're quite a trouble magnet." First there was her, and now a peak master of his own sect, specializing in provoking those with high status. Yuan Jiu rolled her eyes, troublemaker. However, both master and apprentice were surprised when Zhao Wuji hastily explained, "Sect Master Gong misunderstood. I have both love and hate for this kid." Back when disciples were being selected, he revealed the details. Gong Caiyi was astonished. It turned out that this Jiang Fan, without a spirit root, was once fought over by the Sect Master Peak and Carefree Peak. No way. Was Jiang Fan's proficiency in Sword Dao really that high? She couldn't help but be curious. "Elder Zhao, do you have such high regard for Jiang Fan's proficiency in Sword Dao?" Zhao Wuji scratched his head. "I have yet to see it with my own eyes, but my disciple Gong Sun Nan praised him highly, which sparked my interest in accepting him as a disciple." "What? Gong Sun Nan?" Yuan Jiu exclaimed. "No way. Senior brother Gong Sun Nan is the top swordsmanship genius among the 9th sect." As a swordsman, Gong Sun Nan's name was like that of a deity to the young swordsmen practicing swordsmanship. He was known as a once-in-a-hundred-years sword Dao genius. He began learning swordsmanship at the age of 3. By 10, he had mastered swordsmanship. At 18, when he joined the Green Cloud sect, he defeated many senior brothers of Carefree Peak with a single set of sword techniques. He became famous throughout the world. He was the idol in her heart, Gong Sun Nan. But for Gong Sun Nan to praise Jiang Fan so highly, it was unbelievable to her. Gong Caiyi became even more curious and said, "Is that so? Could Gong Sun Nan and Jiang Fan have a sparring match so I can witness your disciples' extraordinary sword skills?" Zhao Wuji had not yet agreed. Gong Sun Nan urgently jumped out. "Good, good, I've always wanted to spar with junior brother Jiang." Jiang Fan was at a loss whether to laugh or cry. "Senior brother Gong Sun, please don't tease me. With my level of cultivation, how can I compete?" Gong Sun Nan, rubbing his hands, said, "What's so difficult about that? I'll suppress my realm to match yours, now hurry up and stop dawdling." Jiang Fan said, "But I have no sword." Gong Caiyi snorted, so many excuses. She flipped her hand and threw the black sword to Jiang Fan. "Take it." Jiang Fan, feeling helpless, had no choice but to take the sword and prepare for battle. The two quickly engaged. Their sword shadows intertwined, chi force crisscrossing. Their swordsmanship was simple and unembellished, yet incredibly powerful. After 10 moves, they were still evenly matched. Yuan Jiu frowned. "It seems like Jiang Fan's swordsmanship isn't that impressive." But Gong Caiyi's beautiful eyes were sparkling. "Impressive. No wonder Gong Sun Nan praised him so highly. Jiang Fan's swordsmanship indeed has something about it." Zhao Wuji watched without blinking, occasionally hitting his thigh hard. "Oh my God, what kind of sword Dao genius did I miss? Sect Master, you have wronged my Carefree Peak." This left Yuan Jiu bewildered. The two were clearly evenly matched. This was even with Gong Sun Nan suppressing his realm. Otherwise, Jiang Fan would have lost in an instant. Why did everyone praise Jiang Fan so highly? After 100 moves, both were slightly out of breath, showing the intensity of their engagement, both giving their all. "A tie?" Jiang Fan sheathed his sword and stepped back. But Gong Sun Nan, complex feelings showing on his face, sheathed his sword and sighed. "I lost." "What?" Yuan Jiu couldn't accept that her idol had lost to someone without a spirit root, speaking up indignantly. "Senior brother Gong Sun, you were holding back against Jiang Fan. You didn't lose." Gong Sun Nan looked at her with a bitter smile. "Thank you for thinking highly of me, junior sister." but I used a lower profound level sword technique. Junior brother Jiang used a higher yellow level sword technique, but he could match me evenly. If we were using techniques of the same level, I would have lost long ago. Gong Caiyi seemed to see Jiang Fan in a new light. Her eyes were filled with admiration. A low-level sword technique displayed with the power of a high-level technique. This is undoubtedly a high sword path talent. No wonder Gong Sun Nan praised him so highly. Zhao Wuji regretted to his core, grabbing Jiang Fan's shoulders. Why didn't you show me your swordsmanship sooner? Had I known you had such potential, I would have defied the sect master to bring you to Carefree Peak. Alas, it was too late to say anything now. As the group descended the mountain, they passed by Medicine Peak, where several disciples were hurrying up the peak, carrying various freshly picked medicinal herbs. Junior brother Jiang? One of the female disciples recognized Jiang Fan. It was Su Qiuning. Jiang Fan asked in surprise, "What's the matter with you all?" Su Qiuning, face filled with anxiety, said, "Our peak master is sick and urgently needs these herbs." Suddenly, she brightened up. "Right, can you help us refine the medicine? This specific medicine could only be refined by my master previously, and the results from us disciples are not satisfactory." Jiang Fan looked at Gong Caiyi. He still had tasks at hand. Gong Caiyi, looking puzzled, gazed at Jiang Fan, questioning whether she had misunderstood something, if she hadn't misheard. This medicine peak disciple was asking Jiang Fan for help with refining. But isn't refining medicines a specialty of medicine peak disciples? Why ask a newly entered disciple for help? With some doubts, she nodded. "The elder's safety is more important. Go ahead. I'll come along too and take a look." She wanted to see what Jiang Fan could do this time. Soon, they arrived at Medicine Peak. Several Medicine Peak disciples were busy boiling the herbs. This particular medicine was very complicated, and the group of female disciples, not having properly divided their work, was fumbling around in disarray. In the end, they ended up ruining it. It's ruined again. A new batch of materials hasn't arrived yet. The master's condition can't wait that long. The materials aren't the issue. The problem is we've already ruined 6 batches. It wasn't that they were unskilled, but this nourishing heart medicine was not only obscure but exceptionally complex. Having never handled it before, they couldn't refine an effective medicine in such a short time. At this time, Su Qiuning ran in hurriedly. "Everyone move, make way. Make way. Junior brother Jiang from the sect Master Peak is here." Upon hearing it was Jiang Fan, their eyes brightened up, and they quickly made way. Looking at this well-known figure, who was said to be capable of refining top-grade black soul bone healing ointment, with hopeful eyes, Jiang Fan hurried over and said, "The recipe." A female disciple quickly handed him the recipe. The recipe didn't mention the name of the medicine, but Jiang Fan recognized it with a glance. "The 9-flavor heart-nourishing pills? This is used to treat heart failure." What happened to Elder Wen? She was fine during the selection of disciples. Back then, she was still glaring and arguing with Zhao Wuji, ready to fight at any moment. How did she end up with such severe heart failure now? Gong Caiyi, who had caught up, listened with curiosity. Typically, heart failure is caused by anger. What had happened to make the medicine peak master so angry? Su Qiuning hesitated, stammering. During the selection of disciples, junior brother Jiang was taken by sect Master Peak. After the master returned, she sulked and eventually collapsed. Gong Caiyi and Yuan Jiu were astonished. What was going on? The medicine peak master also fought for Jiang Fan. What rendered them speechless the most? Was it because they couldn't secure Jiang Fan and fell ill out of anger? Jiang Fan couldn't help but twitch his lips slightly. He didn't hesitate any longer and immediately began to refine the 9-flavor heart-nourishing pills in a methodical manner. His technique was so proficient, completely unlike the panicked disciples. It drew exclamations of awe from the many disciples. Not long after, the medicine pills were ready. Su Qiuning examined them and exclaimed, "Top-grade 9-flavor heart-nourishing pills. Even Master might not be able to refine these." Jiang Fan said, "Quickly give them to Elder Wen to take." Su Qiuning nodded and immediately rushed back into the hall. Not long after, she came out wiping her tears, looking very sad. Jiang Fan's heart sank. "The medicine didn't work," Yuan Jiu sneered. "A fierce set of actions like a tiger, only to see the disciples cry over the effect." Gong Caiyi breathed a strange sigh of relief. "That's more like it. If he were proficient in everything, it would truly be strange." A disciple who could master movement techniques, have high sword path talent, and refine medicine. She would be jealous, too. Luckily, his medicine refining wasn't great. But who knew? Su Qiuning shook her head repeatedly. "It's not that. The medicine worked very well. As soon as Elder Wen took it, she immediately woke up. Jiang Fan was stunned. Then why are you crying? Making everyone misunderstand. Su Qiuning cried again. Because Master knew you refined this medicine, and it's better than what she can refine. She pounded her legs, sighed to the sky a few times, and then fainted again. A silence fell over the front of the hall. For a moment, no one knew whether to cry or laugh. It seemed, the more Jiang Fan demonstrated his talent in medicine refining, the worse his master's heart condition became. Jiang Fan handed the remaining few 9-flavor heart-nourishing pills to Su Qiuning with a bitter face. As long as I'm here, your master's illness is not going to get better, farewell. Then he cupped his hands toward the dazed Gong Caiyi. Sect Master Gong, let's go, so not to disturb Elder Wen's recovery. Oh. Gong Caiyi followed, Jiang Fan in a daze. She stared at Jiang Fan's back, full of disbelief. She whispered again, Xiu, where exactly did you hear this news? Look at him yourself. Does he seem like someone without a spirit root? Yuan Xiu even doubted herself if she had been deceived, watching Jiang Fan's back, stammering. I'll ask around some more. Gong Caiyi sighed softly, looking at Jiang Fan with a trace of envy. Sect Master Liu is really fortunate. If only I had such a disciple. Yuan Xiu stuck out her tongue. Master, our sect is for women. There's no precedent for accepting men. Gong Caiyi glared at her. Do you need to remind me of that? Can't I even express a bit of envy? She was just sighing with emotion. Actually taking Jiang Fan as a disciple, that was absolutely impossible. It was already dusk by then. They spent a day touring 3 mountain peaks. Jiang Fan led them back to Sect Master Peak first. When passing the foot of Reincarnation Peak, a small beast with reddish-brown fur was munching loudly on some spirit ginseng it had stolen from who knows where. When it spotted Jiang Fan passing under the tree, it immediately recognized him. With its dark little nose twitching, it threw the spirit ginseng in its hand at Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan was very alert. He waved his sleeve and sent the spirit ginseng flying away. Then he looked up, locking eyes with the little spiritual beast. The little spiritual beast mischievously turned its back on him, wiggled its bottom, then dashed into the dense forest. Jiang Fan was furious, that wretched creature. He was about to chase after it, but considering the dense forest was part of the Great Elder's Reincarnation Peak, he had to stop. It wasn't appropriate to go to Reincarnation Peak with Gong Caiyi and the others. Yuan Xiu also noticed the little spiritual beast. She was ecstatic, glancing at Jiang Fan, then whispered in Gong Caiyi's ear about her discovery. What? Gong Caiyi was overjoyed. The purpose of her visit to Green Cloud Sect was to find that little spiritual beast. She tried to remain calm, pointing to Reincarnation Peak. What is that place? I want to go up and have a look. Ah. Jiang Fan looked troubled. It's getting late, let's come back tomorrow. Gong Caiyi couldn't wait. She started climbing the steps. Then I'll go by myself. Jiang Fan couldn't let her go up alone. He had to stop a passing disciple to send a message to Sect Master Peak. Then he followed Gong Caiyi, climbing up to Reincarnation Peak all the way. At that moment, Reincarnation Peak was holding evening practice. The great elder, Feng Guchen, was personally instructing his disciples, guiding them in comprehension in front of an ancient wall filled with sword and knife marks, as well as fist and foot imprints. Sect Master Gong, quick, bring spiritual tea and spiritual fruits. Feng Guchen was greatly surprised. He never thought the Sect Master would arrange for Sect Master Gong to come to Reincarnation Peak, so he hadn't made any preparations. Gong Caiyi smiled. Elder Feng, no need for such formalities. I was just passing by and saw the beautiful scenery, so I came up to have a look. Feng Guchen couldn't know she was here to find the little spiritual beast. He immediately started arranging things enthusiastically. Shall I personally show Sect Master Gong around? They were all present. What about the little spiritual beast? Even if it was found, it would be easily noticed by them, making it hard to take it out of Green Cloud Sect when the time came. I have visited several peaks in a row and feel a bit tired. I'll just watch your disciples' comprehension here. I'll let my disciple Xiu walk around on her own. Yuan Xiu understood and said, Master, I'll go myself then. Feng Guchen immediately called Kojan over. You go accompany Xiu. Yuan Xiu said, no need, I prefer to be alone. This is not proper. Word could get out that Reincarnation Peak was inhospitable. Feng Guchen's eyes flashed with suspicion. Obviously, Gong Caiyi wanted her disciple to act alone. Could it be that they were searching for something on Reincarnation Peak? Suddenly, he saw Jiang Fan and his heart suddenly understood. It was Liu Wuchen's scheme. Surely he requested Gong Caiyi's help under the guise of a tour to probe Reincarnation Peak's secrets. Thinking of this, he felt anger. Trying to scheme against him, was it? Preposterous. He looked at Jiang Fan with a look of malice. "I remember your name is Jiang Fan, right?" Jiang Fan bowed calmly. "Disciple Jiang Fan greets the great elder." With Gong Caiyi there, how could the great elder act against him? Feng Guchen glanced at Gong Caiyi, then back at Jiang Fan, feeling the need to make an example. First, to warn Liu Wuchen. Second, to let Gong Caiyi see Sect Master Peak's folly. You, a martial artist without a spirit root, yet highly valued by the Sect Master, entrusted with accompanying Sect Master Gong, must have some outstanding qualities, right? Coincidentally, my disciples are comprehending the Moke Stone Wall. Would you like to give it a try? Oh. Gong Caiyi looked surprised. Elder Feng is generous, but Jiang Fan's aptitude is too low. It might not be suitable. The Moke Stone Wall was a piece of outer heaven meteorite. It held the battle marks of strong warriors and their martial path wills. Those with strong comprehension could gain powerful moves from it. It was said that the strongest comprehended a high-level, profound-level sword move. The downside was that those with poor comprehension could be harmed by the residual martial path will if they forced understanding. At worst, they could feel a headache. At most, they could faint. Jiang Fan had no spirit root, indicating average comprehension. It wasn't suitable for him to participate. Feng Guchen laughed. "You are mistaken. Jiang Fan is the Sect Master's beloved disciple. If he doesn't dare to try the Moke Stone Wall, wouldn't that make Sect Master Peak look like it took in a waste? Good heavens. With that statement, if Jiang Fan still hesitated, it would indeed embarrass Sect Master Peak. Comprehending moves, right? So far, no cultivation technique had posed a problem for him. He cupped his hands. "Since the Great Elder says so, I'll give it a try. But let me make it clear in advance. Any move I comprehend remains mine. Please don't make it difficult later, Great Elder." Gong Caiyi's heart skipped a beat. Could it be possible? Did this guy also have great comprehension? How could things be so unreasonable? Kojan, a fellow new disciple, said indifferently, "You're thinking too much. If the Moke Stone Wall were that easy to comprehend, wouldn't martial arts moves be everywhere? You'd be lucky to grasp a lower yellow-level move. Dreaming of instantly mastering a powerful sword move is nothing but wishful thinking." Jiang Fan looked at the Moke Stone Wall and pondered, "Is it really that hard to comprehend?" Feng Guchen didn't hide anything and said with a chuckle, "Of course it's difficult. But precisely because it's hard, it highlights how extraordinary it is to be a disciple of Sect Master Peak. You are a new disciple, so this elder does not have many expectations of you. If you can comprehend a middle yellow-level move like Cao Zhen, you would be considered impressive. I would not only give the move to you, but also reward you with a foundation establishment pill. How about it?" Jiang Fan gladly agreed. "Okay." Given the situation, even if the Moke Stone Wall was hard to comprehend, he had to try. He couldn't tarnish the reputation of Sect Master Peak. He approached the Moke Stone Wall, closed his eyes, and quietly sensed the many martial wills left on the wall. Seeing him take the bait, the great elder stroked his beard and smiled, waiting for Jiang Fan to be shaken by the Moke Stone Wall. Cao Zhen scoffed, "You think you can comprehend a middle yellow-level move like me? You'd be lucky if you don't get injured." At this moment, Liu Wuchen, upon hearing the news, immediately rushed over with Wang Chengjian. Seeing Jiang Fan already comprehending the wall, his expression changed. "This guy, I told him not to come to Reincarnation Peak, but he insisted. Now he's even recklessly comprehending the Moke Stone Wall." Wang Chengjian, annoyed, muttered under his breath, "Master, Jiang Fan is about to make a fool of himself. Even disciples of Reincarnation Peak dare not easily attempt to comprehend the wall, requiring several days of guidance from the Great Elder to familiarize themselves with which parts of the wall are dangerous and which are safe. Rashly trying to comprehend it, if he encounters those extremely powerful martial wills, he'll definitely be knocked out." Liu Wuchen was also anxious. On the way here, he had been worried that the Great Elder would make things difficult for Jiang Fan and embarrass him in front of Gong Caiyi. And now his fears had come true. How could the Moke Stone Wall be so easily comprehended? He hurriedly stepped forward and said, "Great Elder, Jiang Fan has no spirit root and average comprehension. It's truly unfair to have him comprehend the Moke Stone Wall. Let's bring him down now." Feng Guchen, having seized an opportunity to heavily undermine Sect Master Peak in front of the outer Sect Master, wouldn't let it go easily. He sneered, "Sect Master, are you so unsure of your own disciple? You are a Sect Master with keen vision and insight. Since you accepted a disciple without a spirit root, there must be a reason beyond our understanding, right? Why hide it? Let him display it for us to see. Watch your damn self. You just want to see me embarrassed. But with Gong Caiyi present, he couldn't lose his temper and could only think of a way to get Gong Caiyi to leave. Later, if Jiang Fan was embarrassed, it would only reflect on him and not drag down Sect Master Peak in front of Gong Caiyi. Sect Master Gong, let the juniors play here. Why don't we return to Sect Master Peak? I've already prepared dinner, just waiting for you to come back, Liu Wuchen said with a light smile. Gong Caiyi gave a slight smile, her beautiful eyes still fixed on Jiang Fan's back, showing great interest. It won't take long. I'm very curious to see what move Jiang Fan can comprehend. Wang Chengjian was immediately anxious and sweating. Him comprehend moves. He's certainly going to get hurt by the martial wills just then. The stone wall in front of Jiang Fan began to change. A sharp martial will, so strong it could be felt from afar, appeared in the stone wall before Jiang Fan. They could faintly hear a hoarse roar. Fight! 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 Gong Caiyi's expression changed slightly. Such strong battle intent. This move must surpass the profound level, right? Liu Wuchen's eyes showed concern. Could it be so coincidental? Indeed, there is an earth-level finger technique move in the Moke stone wall. We've all encountered it before, extremely profound and obscure, and no one has ever comprehended it. But it hasn't appeared for a long time. Now it suddenly appears in front of Jiang Fan. His heart sank heavily. Now it's over. Jiang Fan was not only going to be shaken, but also severely injured. Wang Chengjian also sighed silently. Embarrassment is inevitable. Feng Guchen couldn't help but laugh. How unlucky could this kid be? Encountering the most difficult martial will right off the bat, he would likely be knocked out cold. Cao Zhen sneered, crossing his arms in front of his chest, waiting for the next moment. Unexpectedly, the powerful martial will gradually weaken for some unknown reason. Jiang Fan remained unharmed. Feng Guchen exclaimed in bewilderment, "It disappeared!" Liu Wuchen and Wang Chengjian both secretly breathed a sigh of relief. That was close. Gong Caiyi, however, muttered in disappointment. I was hoping to see if he could comprehend that finger technique. Then she smiled self-deprecatingly. What am I thinking? That's an earth-level finger technique. Even if the complete cultivation technique were placed before us elders, it would take a long time to comprehend it. How could Jiang Fan, a new disciple, comprehend it in such a short time from the martial will? After about the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, Jiang Fan slowly opened his eyes and walked back from the stone wall. Turning his head, he noticed Liu Wuchen was present and immediately stepped forward. Master, why are you here? Liu Wuchen glared at him. You still have the nerve to ask. Who told you to comprehend the Moke stone wall? Gong Caiyi, standing beside, stepped in to defend Jiang Fan, Sect Master Liu. Jiang Fan accepted the challenge to uphold the honor of your Sect Master Peak. Regardless of the outcome, you shouldn't dishearten him. Only then did Liu Wuchen hold back his anger. He patted Jiang Fan on the shoulder. At least you didn't disgrace Sect Master Peak. Although you didn't comprehend any moves, you weren't shaken either. This was in line with Jiang Fan's performance of having no spirit root. The great elder wanted to belittle, but there was nothing to belittle. Sure enough, Feng Guchen was very disappointed. The scene he had been anticipating of Jiang Fan being injured and embarrassed never occurred. Looking at him unscathed, he felt very unwilling and said, So this is the disciple of Sect Master Peak. He didn't even comprehend a single move. Liu Wuchen smiled indifferently. Great elder, you're joking. Even your sect's disciples, receiving 3 days of guidance before comprehending, may not be able to grasp the sword move. How could Jiang Fan, comprehending at the last minute, do so? Failing to comprehend is quite normal. With this explanation, the reputation of Sect Master Peak was preserved. Feng Guchen also knew that today's scheme was in vain, so he gave Jiang Fan a sideways glance. I thought the Sect Master had recruited a talent. It seems I was mistaken. He's indeed a waste. At this, Liu Wuchen and Wang Chengjian exchanged silent looks. Wasn't that the consensus of the entire sect? It wasn't considered embarrassing. Gong Caiyi also lost interest. Seeing Yuan Jiu return empty-handed from a distance, she shook her head slightly, knowing that the little spiritual beast had not been captured. Her disappointment increased further. She stood up to leave with a dejected spirit. At that moment, Jiang Fan glanced at Feng Guchen. He originally intended to end things amicably, showing neither a win nor a loss. But the great elder's words were so harsh. Then let him see. Great elder who said I didn't comprehend a move. The moment these words were spoken, the entire audience erupted in an uproar. Feng Guchen's eyebrow twitched. You comprehended the techniques? When? He had been watching Jiang Fan the whole time, yet he hadn't seen any signs of technique enlightenment. Normally, when disciples comprehended a technique, they would show some hint of surprise or delight. After all, the techniques on the wall were all high-level cultivation techniques they had never encountered before. But Jiang Fan had remained calm from start to finish. This was why everyone, including himself, thought Jiang Fan hadn't comprehended any techniques. Wang Chengjian was stunned for a moment. With a look of disbelief, he said, "You better not be talking nonsense. This concerns the sect master's peak's honor." He didn't quite believe it, because the sect had once organized an event for inner sect disciples to collectively comprehend the stone wall. Most of the disciples, including himself, had gained nothing. How could Jiang Fan possibly comprehend anything? Liu Wuchen interrupted, his face full of anticipation. "Did you really comprehend it? Show us quickly." Even the lowest level of technique would be enough to bring glory to the sect master's peak. After all, Jiang Fan was without a spirit root. A disciple without a spirit root could still be stronger than most so-called prodigious disciples of reincarnation peak. Gong Caiyi was dumbfounded. No way, had this guy really comprehended it? She was even more expectant than Liu Wuchen. Let this sect master see as well. She simply didn't believe that Jiang Fan had such high comprehension. Jiang Fan nodded and moved to a slightly more spacious area, addressing Feng Guchen. "Lend me a saber and a sword." Could it be that he had comprehended more than one technique? Kojan immediately found it unacceptable, shouting, "Stop pretending. If you can comprehend one yellow-level lower technique, it's like burning ancestral incense." "Dreaming of comprehending too. Dream on." Jiang Fan couldn't be bothered to respond. He pulled the saber and sword from two reincarnation peak disciples nearby. He stabbed the saber into the ground and held the sword, starting his practice on the spot. Long rainbow-piercing sun? With a single sword strike through the air, powerful sword chi erupted like an arrow, shattering a crooked pine tree not far away. "Yellow-level high swordsmanship!" Gong Caiyi was the first to exclaim, her eyes shining brightly. Liu Wuchen was stunned, then quickly overjoyed, laughing heartily. "My disciple Jiang Fan, you make me so proud. In a short time you've comprehended profound-level high swordsmanship. This far surpasses the disciples of reincarnation peak. When I took you as my disciple, I didn't make a mistake. Ha ha ha." Although he didn't truly believe in Jiang Fan, he wouldn't miss this chance to strike at reincarnation peak. Feng Guchen's face turned ugly. His careful plan to diminish the sect master's peak had backfired with Jiang Fan's display. "Damn it." Kojan found it hardest to accept, protesting, "You without a spirit root can comprehend higher sword techniques than me? Clearly, sect master Liu taught you, and you've pretended to discern it here." Jiang Fan glanced at him sideways. He tossed the sword back to the disciple and picked up the saber from the ground. "Sky-breaking slash!" With a tiger returns move, the heavy saber cleaved down. With a crack, the blue stone ground was split with a finger-deep crack. Gong Caiyi's eyes brightened even more, profound-level lower blade technique. Jiang Fan did not stop. He dropped the saber and threw a punch in the air. "Flood Dragon's Tail!" Gong Caiyi was again surprised. Profound-level middle fist skill. Next, Jiang Fan swung his leg, kicking out a series of afterimages. "Light-splitting leg." Gong Caiyi looked in disbelief and murmured, "Profound-level high leg skill," after demonstrating 4 techniques in a row. Jiang Fan finally stopped, looking at the dumbfounded Cao Zhen with a sidelong glance, saying, "Who taught me these then? Our sect master's peak has no blade technique, palm technique, or leg technique." Cao Zhen's face turned sour. He, a person with a spirit root, was actually inferior to a so-called waste without a spirit root. Liu Wuchen was also stunned, especially since Jiang Fan had even comprehended the extremely difficult yellow-level high leg skill. He couldn't help but laugh heartily. "Great elder, weren't you curious why I took a disciple without a spirit root? Do you understand now? See his extraordinary qualities now?" Ha ha ha. He hadn't felt this refreshed in a long time. Today, Jiang Fan had genuinely brought honor back to the sect master's peak, making him shine brilliantly. Feng Guchen's old face darkened. He glared at Jiang Fan and said, "Fine. It seems I was wrong. The sect master's insight is indeed extraordinary, taking such a unique prodigy as a disciple. We shall see at the ancestral ceremony." Cao Zhen snapped back to reality. He glared at Jiang Fan menacingly. Originally, he had never taken Jiang Fan seriously. He had been betting against Liu Qingxian. But now he also resented Jiang Fan. "You're very impressive, huh? Let's see if you can be this imposing at the ancestral ceremony." Jiang Fan stood with hands clasped behind his back, saying calmly, "Don't worry, I will." This made Cao Zhen grit his teeth in anger. But he was helpless. Today, Jiang Fan had indeed stepped on all the disciples of Reincarnation Peak. Liu Wuchen was in high spirits, calling out, "Sect Master Gong, how is my disciple?" He boasted without restraint. Gong Caiyi made no attempt to hide her envy, a once-in-a-century talent. If only this sect master had such a disciple. Liu Wuchen was taken aback. Once-in-a-century talent. Wasn't it just comprehending some fragmented cultivation techniques? Is such an exaggerated evaluation necessary? It almost sounded like sarcasm. He sulkily fell silent, back at the sect master's peak. After a simple meal, Jiang Fan quickly returned to his cave dwelling. He stood before a massive boulder by a cliff, holding his breath and concentrating, recalling in his mind the earth-level finger technique he had seen today. Everyone thought that the earth-level finger technique had disappeared on its own. In fact, Jiang Fan had comprehended it. Considering that comprehending an earth-level finger technique was rather astonishing, he had deliberately hidden it and not made it public. While he was cultivating, a master and disciple pair were also heading toward his cave dwelling. "Master, do you want to take Jiang Fan as a disciple?" Yuan Jiu was full of suspicion. Seizing the opportunity for a walk, Gong Caiyi headed straight for Jiang Fan. She frowned slightly with a trace of hesitation. "I'm still considering. After all, our spirit beast sect has always only accepted female disciples, never breaking the precedent to accept male disciples. However, the earth-level ancestral technique of our spirit beast sect, since the founding ancestor, has not been comprehended by anyone. Perhaps Jiang Fan could comprehend it and pass it to the sect." She was still in deliberation whether to accept Jiang Fan as a disciple, torn with indecision. Comprehending the yellow-level high leg skill, wouldn't that mean, given time, he might have a chance to comprehend the earth-level technique? But doing so would violate the sect's ancestral rules. Yuan Jiu disapproved. "Master, don't overthink. Yellow-level high and earth-level, they are two different concepts. At most, Jiang Fan could comprehend the yellow-level high. Earth-level is almost impossible." The two talked in whispers. They had already reached Jiang Fan's cave dwelling. Glancing up inadvertently, they both found themselves astonished on the spot. Jiang Fan pointed at the huge stone with a casual gesture. A mysterious trajectory faintly swirled around his finger. The extremely hard stone was pierced through as if it were tofu under his finger. The finger force did not stop, quickly penetrating the half-meter-thick stone, creating a hole straight through from front to back. Even though they had never seen an earth-level technique, both master and disciple could tell that this was definitely not a profound-level finger technique. "An earth-level technique," Yuan Jiu gasped. Gong Caiyi was deeply shaken. No one in the entire Green Cloud sect had managed to comprehend the earth-level finger technique. Jiang Fan, on his first attempt and without any guidance, had managed to comprehend it from the moat stone wall. What kind of heaven-defying comprehension was this? "This boy must be taken as a disciple." Gong Caiyi's breath caught. There was no longer any hesitation. Such a world-shocking talent, who cares about the ancestral rules? Yuan Jiu covered her red lips, her prejudice vanishing entirely. "A person like this you couldn't even steal. Who cares about gender? But master, he's a disciple of the Green Cloud sect. If you want to take him as a disciple, you need to ask sect master Liu if he agrees." Yuan Jiu suddenly said dumbfoundedly. Stealing disciples from another sect, was it that easy? Gong Caiyi was taken aback, also finding it difficult. Such an excellent disciple, taking him away won't be easy. This matter needs long-term planning. Unaware of all this, Jiang Fan looked at the deep hole with satisfaction. The power of the earth-level finger technique is indeed extraordinary. It's a pity there's only one move. It can only be used when catching the opponent off guard. Muttering to himself, Jiang Fan turned and returned to his room. Upon entering the room, Jiang Fan was so angry that steam seemed to rise from his head. The room was full of scratch marks. The tea table and chairs were chewed up, the bed covers pulled off, and clothes torn apart. There was no need to ask. It was the vengeful little spirit beast that had barged in. "You little thing, let's see how I'll deal with you." He ran down the mountain, bought a batch of herbs, and then closed the door to refine them. Soon after, a dozen fire-red, jade-like, beautiful bean-sized pills appeared in his palm. They exuded an irresistible temptation, making one want to take a bite. But this stuff couldn't be eaten carelessly. These were three-step drunk pills specifically for demon beasts. Just one would make a demon beast faint on the spot. He thought for a moment and put those three-step drunk pills into a small jade bottle. He opened a small gap, pretending not to seal it tightly, and then placed it under his pillow. This little spirit beast was cunning. If he scattered them on the ground carelessly, it would definitely become suspicious. Only by letting it find them itself would it feel fortunate. After preparing everything, he took out a top-grade foundation establishment pill, swallowed it, and immediately started cultivating the dragon-seeking scripture, absorbing the powerful spiritual power from the pill. He cultivated until midnight. He couldn't help but click his tongue in wonder. One top-grade foundation establishment pill couldn't even raise 1/10 of my realm. Reaching the foundation establishment realm, advancing was as difficult as climbing to the heavens. And this was a top-grade foundation establishment pill. If it were an ordinary foundation establishment pill, the effect would be abysmally low. With a trace of unwillingness, he took out the earth phoenix grass juice given by Gong Caiyi and swallowed it in one gulp. This was a specialty of the spirit beast sect. Priceless. Its effect was astonishing, transforming its powerful medicinal power into unparalleled spiritual energy. If it were an ordinary person, the sudden influx of so much spiritual energy would be hard to absorb all at once. At least half would be wasted. But in the face of his infinite spirit root and high-level profound mental method, none of this spiritual energy escaped. As the day broke, Jiang Fan slowly opened his eyes. The air current around him swirled. He suddenly reached the fourth layer of foundation establishment. As expected of Earth Phoenix grass juice, Jiang Fan said in surprise. It would be great to get another bottle. Thinking of Gong Caiyi's promise, he couldn't help but look forward to her possibly giving another bottle before she left. The next day, early in the morning, Jiang Fan took Gong Caiyi to continue touring the Green Cloud sect. What puzzled Jiang Fan was that this time, not only Yuan Jiu accompanied them, but several female disciples he had met earlier had also come. Moreover, at each mountain peak, the disciples would disperse and act separately. Sect Master Gong, are you searching for something? Even if Jiang Fan was slow, he could see some clues. Gong Caiyi's eyes flashed as she said, "You're overthinking." Seeing that she was unwilling to reveal, Jiang Fan naturally didn't ask further. Their actions would surely be noticed by the sect, so let the sect handle it. He just did his job as a tour guide. By evening, Jiang Fan returned to his cave dwelling quite exhausted. Upon seeing the mess inside, he felt a burst of joy. That little spirit beast was back, opening the door and looking in. Sure enough, the little spirit beast was sprawled out on the bed, snoring loudly, sound asleep. Around it were scattered three-step drunk pills. "You little thing, finally back under my control, huh?" He took out the prepared mysterious iron steel wire rope and tied it up tightly with intricate knots. This time, no matter how sharp its teeth were, it couldn't bite through the rope. After an unknown amount of time, the little spirit beast groggily opened its bright black and white eyes, hearing the sound of knife sharpening nearby. It got a start. Looking intently, it saw Jiang Fan sharpening a kitchen knife. Beside him, a pot of broth was boiling. Looking at itself again, it was tightly bound, unable to move. Chirp, chirp, chirp. It let out a panicked scream, trying to bite off the steel wire rope, but nearly breaking its teeth. Jiang Fan turned around, holding the kitchen knife, and made some gestures on its round belly. Should I cut horizontally or vertically? I wonder if the meat tastes fishy. Will it be fragrant steamed or tasty stir-fried? The little spirit beast understood and rolled around in fear, screaming uncontrollably. Seemingly cursing loudly, Jiang Fan chuckled. "Still so stubborn? Fine, then let's make a broth." He grabbed one of the little spirit beast's legs and lifted it over the pot of boiling water. Just a release and it would fall into cook. This finally terrified the little spirit beast. It threw an imploring look at Jiang Fan. "Now you know fear?" Jiang Fan lifted it up and said, "But I'm still troubled about how to deal with you. Let you go and you keep causing trouble. But keeping you is useless. Might as well just slaughter you." With that, he was about to throw it into the pot. The little spirit beast trembled with fear, a layer of white light suddenly appearing on its body. In the next moment, it disappeared into thin air along with the steel wire rope tying it up. Jiang Fan was left holding nothing but air. Stunned, thud, following the sound, he saw the little spirit beast bound by the steel wire rope bump into the door and fall down. "What was that just now?" Jiang Fan was full of astonishment. The little spirit beast repeated its trick. This time Jiang Fan saw clearly. The little spirit beast vanished in place, reappearing at another wall. It tried to pass through the wall, but it couldn't take the steel wire rope with it. Hence, it was blocked and bounced back. "A space ability," Jiang Fan gasped. He was in total disbelief. This little spiritual beast's talent was actually spatial teleportation. No wonder it could always ignore the restrictions around the cave and come and go freely. Seeing the little spiritual beast trying to run away again, Jiang Fan rushed up and pressed it down. Little thing, still trying to run? Seeing there was no way out, the little spiritual beast looked pleadingly. Jiang Fan rubbed his chin and said, "You seem to have some use. It would be a pity to kill you. But if I don't kill you, you will try to run again." Upon hearing this, the little spiritual beast immediately pushed its forehead towards Jiang Fan. Faintly visible, beneath the fur on its forehead, was a triangular white light. "You want to recognize me as your master?" Jiang Fan recognized this as a demon beast proactively requesting to recognize a master. One just needed to inject a wisp of soul into the white light, establishing a spiritual connection with the demon beast. At the same time, the portion of the soul left in the demon beast's body could harm the demon beast, thus achieving the effect of restraining the demon beast. However, the precondition was that the master's soul must be stronger than the demon beast's. Otherwise, the demon beast could erase the master's mark at any time with its strong soul power, ultimately turning against the master. How could he hesitate? He immediately extended a wisp of soul, injecting it into the white light. Instantly, he sensed the thoughts of the little spiritual beast. "You stinking guy, young master will endure for now. When you are not prepared, young master will give you a surprise. Just a mere human, you think you can plant a soul mark in me?" Hearing its inner thoughts, Jiang Fan showed a faint smile. He said, "You can try." The little spiritual beast was immediately frightened. Realizing its thoughts had been exposed, it hurriedly tried to erase Jiang Fan's soul mark. But as it tried, it became utterly panic-stricken. With its own soul power, it couldn't erase it at all. "What? This stinking guy's soul power is stronger than mine." It attempted several times, all to no avail. On the contrary, Jiang Fan's mere thought caused the little spiritual beast to emit a painful scream. It was as if a dagger had been brutally stabbed into its brain. Within moments, it was in so much pain that it became limp, rolling on the ground in convulsions. It begged for mercy in its mind. "Little Qiuning was wrong, master, spare me." Seeing it submitting, Jiang Fan stopped and looking at its fluffy, panda-like appearance, he exclaimed, "You are a Qiuning." From head to toe, it didn't resemble a Qiuring at all. The little Qiuning moaned in pain. "Just because I don't look mighty enough, can't I have a majestic name?" If appearance isn't enough, the name will do." "What kind of demon beast are you?" Jiang Fan asked curiously. The little Qiuning shook its head, thinking, "I don't know either. I was born alone. Last time I was chased by many demon beasts and human clan experts and barely escaped here." Jiang Fan pondered. "There aren't many types of demon beasts with spatial talent. I'll help you find out when I have time." "All right then, go play. I need to cultivate." Unlocking the steel wire around the little Qiuning, Jiang Fan seized the time to cultivate. He sat cross-legged and took out a top-grade foundation establishment pill, tossing it into his mouth. Just about to circulate his mental method, he heard a slurping sound near his ear. Turning his head, he saw the little Qiuning drooling at his chest. "What, you also like to eat this stuff?" Jiang Fan took out another foundation establishment pill. The little Qiuling's eyes widened. Standing on its hind legs, its forelegs continuously bowed. Jiang Fan chuckled and casually tossed it over. The little Qiuling caught it in its mouth, munching and swallowing it eagerly, then wagged its tail, looking at Jiang Fan expectantly. "You think these just fall from the sky?" Jiang Fan glared at it. After pondering for a moment, Jiang Fan took out a portion of top-grade black soul bone healing ointment. The little Qiuling's eyes lit up again, still shaking its tail. Jiang Fan realized that the little Qiuling seemed to like anything that contained spiritual energy. Top-grade foundation establishment pills and top-grade black soul bone healing ointment were all made from precious materials. "So you like these? That's easy to handle." Jiang Fan casually tossed out several top-grade black soul bone healing ointments and said, "I'm a soul master. Follow me, and you'll have plenty of spirit pills to eat." Hearing this, the little Qiuling looked at Jiang Fan in shock. Apparently, it also knew what a soul master represented. A thought flashed uncontrollably through its mind. Wake up to spirit pills every day. No need to scavenge for heavenly materials and earthly treasures or be chased anymore. Seems like following him wouldn't be too bad. Thinking this, it grinned and gathered several portions of top-grade black soul bone healing ointment into its arms, happily munching on them. Jiang Fan pouted and continued to cultivate. The next day, he instructed the little Qiuling not to leave the house. Jiang Fan went to wait for Gong Caiyi in front of the hall. Unexpectedly, there were some unfamiliar guests. They were all burly, with dark skin, and their muscles hard as iron. Gong Caiyi was frowning slightly, staring at a towering, mighty man over 2 meters tall in front of her. "Sect Master Kong, what are you doing at Green Cloud Sect?" The person in front of her was none other than the sect master of the giant sect, Kong Yuanba. "Haha, of course, like Sect Master Gong, I'm just wandering around." Kong Yuanba showed a faint smile on his rugged face. His hand shamelessly slapped Gong Caiyi's shoulder, trying to take advantage. Gong Caiyi stepped back and said coldly, "Kong Yuanba, please have some respect." Kong Yuanba smiled and said, "Sect Master Gong remains as charming as ever, reminding me of your unparalleled beauty back then. I couldn't help it, sorry, haha." Gong Caiyi was furious. Without another word, she drew an ancient shuttle and chief force whirled around her. Obviously, she couldn't hold back her anger. Jiang Fan touched his nose. This woman had a big temper. She didn't hesitate to act at all. These days, she had been quite gentle with him, right? He was just about to step forward to dissuade her when Liu Wuchen rushed in and anxiously said, "Sect Master Gong, wait!" But Gong Caiyi ignored him, saying, "This guy will not restrain himself without a lesson." Seeing that even their master couldn't dissuade her, Jiang Fan could only say casually, "Sect Master Gong, why bother with him?" Hearing Jiang Fan's voice, Gong Caiyi's expression changed, quickly calming her anger and reverting to her previous gentle and kind elder sister demeanor. She inserted the shuttle into her waist and looked back with a faint smile. "All right, I'll listen to Jiang Fan." Liu Wuchen was stunned. If even I couldn't dissuade her, and Jiang Fan managed to do so instantly, do I really have such little authority as the sect master? Kong Yuanba also looked at Jiang Fan and scrutinized him. A disciple of the sect master peak of Green Cloud Sect who can be so valued by sect master Gong. Could he be sect master Liu's favorite disciple, the prodigy who cultivates both body and magic? Next to Kong Yuanba, a burly disciple with a rugged face but youthful eyes showed a fighting spirit. "Is that so? Why don't you compete with me?" Liu Wuchen was startled. The person in front of him was Kong Yuanba's nephew, his specially trained body refinement prodigy, Kong Wushuang. Although recently made a disciple, his physique was so strong that Jiang Fan without a spirit root couldn't compare. He hurriedly said, "Thank you, Sect Master Kong, for your favor, but this is my inferior disciple Jiang Fan, with poor qualifications not worth mentioning." These words made Gong Caiyi feel underestimated. Poor qualifications not worth mentioning. Was Liu Wuchen being modest? Kong Wushuang, however, continued to stare at Jiang Fan, squinting his eyes. "No. My instinct tells me this person is very strong." With these words, Gong Caiyi secretly marveled. This Kong Wushuang had an incredibly strong intuition. He actually noticed Jiang Fan's extraordinariness. But the next sentence left Gong Caiyi stunned. "I can feel it, his vitality is unmatched among his peers." Kong Wushuang stared at Jiang Fan, his eyes brimming with a hint of battle intent. "I didn't expect, outside of our giant sect, there would be such a body refinement genius. Come. Let's have a fight." Body refinement technique. Gong Caiyi looked at Jiang Fan bewilderedly. How did this guy reveal another hidden ability? How many secrets was he still hiding? Jiang Fan, on the other hand, was deeply puzzled. He had practiced the giant sect's iron blood true scripture, and if he sparred for real, would he be recognized? Fortunately, Liu Wuchen wouldn't dare let Jiang Fan embarrass Sect Master Peak. He quickly interrupted. "Sect Master Kong, you've come all the way to Green Cloud Sect. May I ask for what purpose?" He glanced at Gong Caiyi again. Might as well speak openly. Or rather, are the two sect masters here to search for something in our Green Cloud Sect? He had noticed Gong Caiyi's unusual behavior over the past 2 days. It seemed like sightseeing, but in reality, disciples were searching each peak. Adding the sudden visit, he had a speculation in his heart. Now even the giant sect, the furthest away among the 9 sept, had come uninvited. This speculation could now be confirmed. Gong Caiyi pondered for a moment, knowing she could no longer hide it. She said seriously, "The cause of the recent beast tide has been investigated by the heavenly mechanism pavilion. A heaven and earth exotic beast has emerged. The demon king led the demon beasts in search, causing the beast tide to appear. And in my pursuit, I found it had hidden within the Green Cloud Sect." Liu Wuchen's face changed dramatically. The heaven and earth exotic beast that caused the beast tide. Could it be the offspring of a demon emperor or an even higher-level demon beast? Gong Caiyi's eyes showed a fervent light as she shook her head. "I don't know. But it surely has a significant background. Otherwise, the demon emperor, who hasn't left seclusion in hundreds of years, wouldn't go to such lengths, summoning all demon beasts to search." Gong Caiyi then glanced askew at Kong Yuanba. I know of this because our spirit beast sect's spirit beasts informed us. Sect Master Kong, your capabilities are vast, you also found out. Kong Yuanba grinned. His gaze was already scrutinizing everywhere. Sect Master Liu, since we all know this beast is in the Green Cloud sect, your sect would find it difficult to monopolize it. Liu Wuchen's expression remained uncertain. He did indeed have thoughts of monopolizing it, but with the two sect masters here, it was unrealistic to drive them away. In that case, let each of us rely on our abilities. Whoever finds the demon beast, it will be theirs, said Liu Wuchen. Neither Kong Yuanba nor Gong Caiyi disagreed. They immediately led their disciples, openly beginning their search. Jiang Fan, continue to follow me, Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan, Gong Caiyi called out several times, noticing Jiang Fan was lost in thought. Oh, Jiang Fan snapped out of it and responded quickly. What are you thinking about? Gong Caiyi asked suspiciously. That you're so distracted. Could Jiang Fan not be distracted? If his guess was correct, the heaven and earth exotic beast that the three sects sought was likely the little Kirin he had recently tamed. It turned out to be the source of the beast tide. What on earth had he tamed? He hid the guilt in his eyes and said, I was thinking about what such a heaven and earth exotic beast would be like. Gong Caiyi relaxed, explaining patiently. Let's talk while we walk. Such beings are beyond what our ninth sect can comprehend. I heard even the heavenly mechanism pavilion couldn't figure out where this demon beast came from or what kind it is. But it must be a rare, peerless creature. If you help me find it, I'll agree to any condition. Looking at the elegant, graceful Gong Caiyi, Jiang Fan nodded absent-mindedly. Hand it over to you? Keep dreaming. So, the entire Green Cloud sect was in an uproar. Under Liu Wuchen's orders, Sect Masters Peak and the 9 great elder peaks had all elders, deacons, and disciples conduct a thorough search. The people of the Giant Sect and Spirit Beast Sect also used every possible means to search. After more than 10 days, naturally there was no result. It looks like our last pursuit made it alert. It probably slipped away early on. Gong Caiyi tiredly rubbed her temples. The Green Cloud Sect was almost turned completely upside down by them. If the little spirit beast was still here, it couldn't be completely invisible. The only explanation could be it had left the Green Cloud sect. Yuan Jiu had grown noticeably thinner. Master, are we just going to return empty-handed? What else? Gong Caiyi said despondently. Near the Green Cloud sect is the 10,000 mountains. If we've lost its trace, finding it again would be harder than finding a needle in a haystack. Wait, Gong Caiyi suddenly remembered. We can't leave like this. I have to take Jiang Fan with me. I can't be content leaving such talent behind without bringing it back to the Spirit Beast sect. Yuan Jiu hesitated. But, how do you plan to take him away? Would Sect Master Liu let him go? He's that excellent. Gong Caiyi's head ached again. She bit her lip and said, Then we'll offer more in exchange? Soon after. Jiang Fan, who was cultivating, was suddenly summoned by Liu Wuchen. He hurried to the main hall. He saw Liu Wuchen and Gong Caiyi both present. Jiang Fan, Sect Master Gong is leaving tomorrow. She specifically called you here, Liu Wuchen said, puzzled. Gong Caiyi had solemnly asked to see him and also had Jiang Fan summoned. He didn't know what she intended to do. Sect Master Gong, as a disciple unfamiliar with the sect, I apologize for the inadequate hospitality. Please forgive me, Jiang Fan said humbly. Gong Caiyi looked at Jiang Fan meaningfully and asked, Jiang Fan, what do you think of this sect master? You. Jiang Fan cautiously glanced at her. Fair skin, beautiful looks, graceful figure, a great beauty, and excellent in character and temperament. Most importantly, she treated him well. Sect Master Gong is peerlessly elegant, gentle, and kind. It would be my honor to serve you, Jiang Fan replied. Gong Caiyi smiled slightly, unexpectedly saying, Then would you be willing to come to the Spirit Beast sect to continue serving me? Jiang Fan was dumbfounded. Liu Wuchen, holding his teacup, also trembled in shock. Sect Master Gong, what is this? Gong Caiyi did not conceal her intention. After half a month, I've grown very fond of Jiang Fan. Could I ask Sect Master Liu to consider letting this disciple come with me? Liu Wuchen was puzzled. What was so special about Jiang Fan? Even if he had good comprehension, he still had no spirit root. He frowned and asked, Sect Master Gong, what do you want to do with him? He really didn't understand what Gong Caiyi saw in him. Gong Caiyi spoke frankly, young sect leader. Clang, Liu Wuchen was so shocked he trembled and his teacup shattered on the ground. Young sect leader, Sect Master Gong, you must be joking, right? Gong Caiyi frowned. She was worried Liu Wuchen would be concerned about Jiang Fan being mistreated at the Spirit Beast sect. So after careful consideration, she offered to make Jiang Fan the young sect leader of the Spirit Beast sect. But Liu Wuchen still wasn't satisfied. No matter how excellent Jiang Fan was, he was just a disciple. Young sect leader was already the highest position. If sect master Liu wants something else, just say it. I sincerely want to take Jiang Fan, said Gong Caiyi. Liu Wuchen looked at Jiang Fan in amazement. He couldn't see what was special about him. Realizing Gong Caiyi misunderstood, Liu Wuchen hastily said, Sect Master Gong, you're overestimating him. Jiang Fan, a disciple with no spirit root, is fortunate if you want him. As long as he agrees to go with you, I have no objections. What? Gong Caiyi stood up suddenly. She couldn't believe what she heard. Liu Wuchen didn't care about this disciple at all. A thought that made her extremely excited popped into her mind. Could it be that Liu Wuchen had no idea his disciple had immense value? Sect Master Liu, you're not joking, are you? Such an outstanding disciple, are you sure you want to give him to me? Gong Caiyi suppressed her excitement and cautiously probed. Outstanding, Sect Master Liu sighed bitterly. Sect Master Gong, are you mocking me? You jest. I have accepted a disciple with no spirit root. In his heart, Jiang Fan was the most embarrassing disciple of Sect Master Peak, and he was the greatest source of his shame. However, Gong Caiyi's beautiful eyes sparkled with surprise and delight. Even Yuan Jiu covered her red lips, secretly clicking her tongue. Did Liu Wuchen not know just how exceptionally talented Jiang Fan was? Jiang Fan felt awkward. He cupped his hands and said, Master, Sect Master Gong. Regarding the transfer of disciples, shouldn't you first ask the disciples' opinion? His wives were all in the Green Cloud sect. How could he easily abandon them and become the young sect leader of the Spirit Beast sect? A cunning gleam flashed in Gong Caiyi's eyes. Didn't you just agree? How can you go back on your word? Jiang Fan was stunned. When did the disciple agree? Gong Caiyi leisurely replied. Earlier I asked you how you felt about me. You said very well, so I took it as your consent. All right, there's nothing for you to do next. Don't interfere with the discussion between your master and me. She hesitated for a couple of seconds, and then reluctantly took out a jade gourd decorated with intricate patterns. It was filled with unknown blood. It boiled continuously like flames. Seeing this, Liu Wuchen jumped up in shock. Demon Emperor's blood! Sect Master Gong, are you serious? There once appeared a powerful tiger demon on the continent that led a horde of demons. Its cultivation reached the Demon Emperor realm, allowing it to transform into a human form. It was a legendary transformed demon beast. It suddenly died later, and its corpse was divided among 4 continental-level experts. Because of some connection with one of those experts, Gong Caiyi was rewarded with some Demon Emperor's blood. Demon Emperor's blood is not only the top-grade material for refining feeds for demon beasts, but also a holy object for body refinement. Over the years, the giant sect has begged you to sell them some, but you never did. Now you want to exchange it for Jiang Fan? Gong Caiyi's expression was serious, showing no signs of jesting. She pushed the entire bottle of Demon Emperor's blood in front of Liu Wuchen and said, I don't want Sect Master Liu to feel shortchanged in the future. Take it. After all, they were allies. She didn't want to overcharge and wanted to use a bottle of Demon Emperor's blood to silence Sect Master Liu. One day, when he discovered Jiang Fan's prowess, he would be too embarrassed to regret it. How could Liu Wuchen disagree? This way, he could rid himself of the thorn in his side and legitimately distance Jiang Fan from the Green Cloud sect to prevent any loose tongues about his secret engagement with his daughter. And he could still gain a priceless bottle of Demon Emperor's blood. It was a win-win. Good. He excitedly reached out to grab the Demon Emperor's blood. Just then, Liu Xianxia, who had been in seclusion for several days, suddenly barged in. She stopped Liu Wuchen and furrowed her brow. You're going to give Jiang Fan to the Spirit Beast sect, just for a bottle of Demon Emperor's blood. Jiang Fan had the infinite spirit root, the legendary infinite spirit root. Not even 10 Demon Emperors could compare to him, let alone a bottle of Demon Emperor's blood. Watching her father being swayed so easily by a mere bottle of Demon Emperor's blood, she was exasperated. Gong Caiyi spoke warmly. Miss Liu, isn't a bottle of Demon Emperor's blood too little for someone with no spirit root like Jiang Fan? Liu Xianxia stared at the seemingly gentle and beautiful spirit beast sect master, her heart anxious. Could it be that this woman has discovered that Jiang Fan has the infinite spirit root? Is that why she's willing to spend a bottle of Demon Emperor's blood? She composed herself and spoke with a deeper meaning. Sect Master Gong, you know what Jiang Fan is capable of, and so do I. If you want to exchange him for a bottle of demon emperor's blood, I won't agree to it." Gong Caiyi's face stiffened for a moment. Her heart skipped a beat. Could this girl also know of Jiang Fan's abilities? Right, they are quite close. It's natural she'd be so familiar with him. Why did she have to show up now? Liu Wuchen was taken aback by Liu Qingxian's attitude. He reprimanded, "Qingxian, don't be rude. How can you speak to Sect Master Gong like that?" Liu Qingxian glared at him angrily. "Father, have you forgotten that I have an agreement with Cao Zhen that requires Jiang Fan to fulfill? Do you want to see your daughter bullied by the great elder's disciple?" Liu Wuchen slapped his forehead. Only then did he remember this matter. Since it involved his daughter, his disciple, and the rivalry with Reincarnation Peak, he couldn't take it lightly. "Sect Master Gong will discuss the transfer of disciples later. Let's wait until the ancestor worship ceremony is over to discuss it." Gong Caiyi, however, didn't want to miss the opportunity to strike while the iron was hot. She looked at Liu Qingxian with a smile. "Miss Liu, how about a bet? If Jiang Fan loses, he will belong to my spirit beast sect." Liu Qingxian looked hostile. "And if he wins?" Gong Caiyi smiled faintly. "You're close to core formation, right? You've long desired the Earth Dragon crystal core of my spirit beast sect, haven't you? If Jiang Fan wins, I'll make an exception and allow you to take one from my spirit beast sect." Earth Dragon crystal core. Liu Wuchen was shocked. "Sect Master Gong, you can't. That's a priceless treasure only available to spirit beast sect's core formation disciples." "It doesn't matter." Gong Caiyi looked at Liu Qingxian with a smile. "Miss Liu, do you dare to bet?" Liu Qingxian stared at Gong Caiyi. She knew the other was trying to lure her into a trap, but it was an Earth Dragon crystal core, a miraculous item that could increase the probability of martial artists reaching core formation, something unattainable in the outside world. More importantly, she sensed a hint of challenge from Gong Caiyi. Even if it wasn't for the Earth Dragon crystal core, she couldn't lose the upper hand. She said, "I'll bet." Gong Caiyi nodded with satisfaction. "Good, the stake is Jiang Fan. Tomorrow we'll decide the outcome with a duel," Liu Qingxian replied. "It's a deal." The two women exchanged glances. There were sparks in the air, in a side hall. Kong Wushuang asked, "Uncle, aren't we giving up on that heaven and earth exotic beast?" "Isn't it a pity?" Kong Yuanba, hands behind his back, laughed. "I rushed to the Green Cloud sect not worried about not getting it. I was worried that the Green Cloud sect or the Spirit Beast sect might get it. Now that no one can get it, I'm relieved. If any sect obtained the little spiritual beast, it would become a threat. If no one had it, it was fair." Kong Wushuang slightly nodded. "Then why don't we leave? Why stay at the Green Cloud sect?" Kong Yuanba smiled faintly. "Since we're here, don't you want to see the Green Cloud sect's new talents appreciate the prowess of our giant sect's prodigies?" Upon hearing this, Kong Wushuang thought of Jiang Fan. Her gaze turned sharp. "Right, I almost forgot about that kid. A mere outer sect disciple dares to cultivate body techniques. Tomorrow, I'll show him what real body techniques are." The next day, the 10 Peaks bells tolled. Including the new outer disciples, all the new disciples who had entered the Green Cloud sect gathered at the Ancestor Master Hall. Under the lead of Liu Wuchen, the new disciples one by one burned incense and bowed before the statue of the Ancestor Master. After the ceremony was completed, the nerves of the inner sect disciples grew even tenser, because the next segment was the most crucial. That was to spar in front of the Ancestor Master Hall and compete. "Sect Master Gong, I heard you have a bet with Sect Master Liu's daughter." Kong Yuanba turned his head, eyeing Gong Caiyi, who had changed into a thin gauze dress with an enchanting figure, smiling as he said, "Would you like to bet with me too?" Gong Caiyi's face turned slightly cold. "Not interested." Sitting in the middle, Liu Wuchen was quite helpless. Even with him sitting between them, Kong Yuanba did not give up harassing Gong Caiyi. "Sect Master Kong, our disciples' sparring is about to begin. Please be quiet for a moment." Kong Yuanba sneered. His eyes narrowed as he looked around at the new disciples standing beside the various peak masters, scoffing. "They are indeed quite a few new disciples, but I wonder if there are any worth watching." Liu Wuchen's face darkened slightly. Over the years, Kong Yuanba was still so arrogant. But who could deny that the giant sect was one of the strongest of the 9 sect, while the Green Cloud sect was one of the weakest among them? He gave the peak masters a look, and they each understood. They quickly reminded the new disciples not to hold back and to display their full strength, so as not to disgrace the name of Green Cloud sect in front of outsiders. The new disciples, sensing Kong Yuanba's contempt, all bristled with anger. Thus, including Jiang Fan, 20 new inner sect disciples began their sparring, determined by drawing lots. A wooden box appeared before them. Liu Wuchen said, "There are balls numbered from 1 to 10 in the box, 2 of each. Those who draw the same number will spar against each other." Many people first noticed Cao Zhen and Tao Zhengjun. These two could be said to be the strongest among the new disciples. Although there were also highly talented female disciples like Xu Youran, Su Qiuning, and Chen Silin. But their training was still shallow, and their realms were not very high. Drawing one of them might still leave a chance for a fight. But drawing Cao Zhen or Tao Zhengjun would mean certain elimination on the spot. Everyone wanted to make a good impression in their first appearance before the sect master and the 9 elders. As for the final reward of entering the book collection pavilion, they dared not even hope for it. Soon enough, Jiang Fan drew number 3. On the spot, Liu Wuchen began pairing them. Cao Zhen of Reincarnation Peak against Tao Xiuling of Carefree Peak. Tao Zhengjun of Sect Master Peak against Wu Jiantao of Chasing Sky Peak. Upon hearing the matches, except for Tao Xiuling and Wu Jiantao, all the new disciples breathed a sigh of relief. The 2 strongest were pitted against others. The rest would be more manageable. Jiang Fan of Sect Master Peak against Zheng Jiu of Mad Blade Peak. Jiang Fan looked over, finding a tall and handsome disciple holding a number 3 ball, being eyed with disdain by the female disciples. "You're that disciple of the sect master with no spirit root. Famous for a long time, let's see if you can last more than 3 moves against me." The surroundings echoed with laughter. Among the new disciples, the most formidable. Undoubtedly Cao Zhen and Tao Zhengjun, but in terms of fame, without question, it was Jiang Fan, the dark horse. This guy's luck isn't great. He drew Zheng Jiu, the favored disciple of the Mad Blade Peak Master. He's already in the Foundation Establishment realm and has mastered a high yellow-level blade technique. It said his blade skills are exceptional and highly regarded by Zheng Jiu. For a disciple without a spirit root like Jiang Fan, blocking 3 moves from him is dubious. Their discussions were nothing but background noise to Jiang Fan. Gong Caiyi glanced at Liu Qingxian with a half-smile, saying, "Miss Liu, if Jiang Fan loses before he has a chance to fight Cao Zhen, how will our bet be resolved?" She did not have high hopes for Jiang Fan's capabilities. Jiang Fan's excellence lay in his comprehension and medicine refining, yet his innate deficiency without a spirit root meant his martial strength was inevitably weak. He might not even make it past Zheng Jiu. Liu Qingxian, however, smiled mysteriously. "If he can't even defeat Zheng Jiu, I'll count it as my loss." Oh, Gong Caiyi was surprised. Why did Liu Qingxian have such confidence in Jiang Fan's strength? Clearly, his strength couldn't be that high. As the disciples' orders were arranged, the sparring quickly began. Cao Zhen and Tao Zhengjun deservedly lived up to expectations among the new disciples. Within 5 rounds, they defeated their opponents, still retaining strength. The other sparrings proceeded orderly. Kong Wushuang, with hands behind his back, calmly watched the sparring, shaking his head. Besides Cao Zhen and Tao Zhengjun, none of the others are worth mentioning. Green Cloud Sect is indeed too barren, no remarkable seedlings. He didn't lower his voice intentionally, so all the disciples present heard it. Cao Zhen's eyebrows knitted. "Kong Wushuang dare to spar with me?" On Green Cloud Sect's territory, so blatant he, as the acknowledged strongest of the new disciples, couldn't pretend not to hear. Kong Wushuang sneered. "You, not my match. I have no interest in you." At this moment, Liu Wuchen announced without expression, "Last group, Jiang Fan against Zheng Jiu." He frowned, feeling a headache. He most feared Jiang Fan making a spectacle of himself, affecting his reputation. However, on such a grand occasion, Jiang Fan had to appear. Appear he might, he still had to compete. And his luck being so bad, drawing Zheng Jiu. In the new disciples, Zheng Jiu's strength was indeed at the forefront. Cao Zhen's attention was drawn over, casting a disdainful glance at Jiang Fan. "Fight me? You might not even make it past him." What made his eyebrows twitch was that Kong Wushuang's eyes sparkled, revealing interest. "Good, the only one I see as an opponent is finally up. Let me see your prowess." Cao Zhen was unconvinced. Kong Wushuang dismissed his strength but held Jiang Fan in high regard. Why? He was recognized as the strongest new disciple of the Green Cloud Sect. Why did everyone think so highly of Jiang Fan? Everyone's thoughts varied, but without exception, they were all very interested in this fight. Far more so than the spar between Cao Zhen and Tao Zhengjun. Jiang Fan walked up calmly. Zheng Jiu, carrying a large blade, glanced at the unarmed Jiang Fan. "Where is your weapon?" "Not needed." Jiang Fan shook his head. For dealing with this level, there was no need to draw the purple sword. Zheng Jiu snorted. "Arrogant. Think that being a sect master's disciple for a few days makes you superior. Sparring is about skill, not status." Fine, I'll show you mercy, use my blade to awaken you. He stepped forward, his speed like thunder, stirring the dust. The long blade flashed coldly, slashing powerfully towards Jiang Fan. 10,000 horsemen charge! The new disciple's eyes lit up. Cao Zhen and Tao Zhengzhen were slightly somber. The power of this slash exceeded their expectations. Liu Wuchen's face looked ugly. He was a bit angry. No spirit root, yet arrogant enough not to use a weapon. Who gave Jiang Fan such courage? Wasn't this asking for trouble, however? With a dull thud, Liu Wuchen's expression changed. This didn't sound like a blade, more like a punch or kick. Looking up, he saw that Zhang Jiu, fierce as he was coughing blood, staggering backward and falling to his knees with a thud. If not for his long blade supporting his waist, he would already be on the ground, unable to get up. Jiang Fan expressionlessly cupped his hands. "Thanks for letting me win." After a brief moment of silence, the whole place erupted. Did Jiang Fan actually win? And he won with just one move? That's absurd. The disciples were shocked. The elders and several peak masters present couldn't keep calm either. Gong Caiyi was stunned. "No, are you sure he has no spirit root? How is his strength so formidable?" Liu Qingxian felt a sense of pride. Back when they were bathing in the spirit pond, Jiang Fan had even pushed her back with this move. The likes of Zheng Jiu could hardly be a match for Jiang Fan. Liu Wuchen's eyes showed surprise. He actually won. He had thought that Jiang Fan would surely lose. He breathed a slight sigh of relief. At least we finally won a match, and it was even against a direct disciple from Mad Blade Peak. Even if we lose later, it's not a disgrace anymore. Kong Wushuang's eyes held a trace of a smile. "I knew it, this guy isn't simple. The palm technique he just used seems to have some renown." Unlike most people who focused on Zheng Jiu, he had always been watching Jiang Fan. So he noticed the extraordinariness of that one palm. Cao Zhen snorted through his nostrils. He just happened to win against Zheng Jiu. Kong Wushuang chuckled. "Happened. I think even if it were you up against that palm just now, your outcome wouldn't be any better." Cao Zhen laughed angrily. "Him, defeat me with one move." The elders were also restless. The Mad Blade Peak Master was stunned and couldn't help but look at Li Qingfeng and asked, "Elder Li, didn't you say he was a disciple with no spirit root? How is he stronger than Zheng Jiu, whom I personally brought back? If I had known, I would have accepted him as well." Li Qingfeng was immediately embarrassed, but he quickly found a reason, saying, "It was just a coincidence, a coincidence." Zheng Jiu was overconfident. If they fought again, Jiang Fan wouldn't stand a chance. The first round of the competition ended uneventfully. Liu Wuchen quickly had the 10 victorious disciples draw lots for the second round. Jiang Fan from Sect Master Peak against Tao Zhengzhen from Sect Master Peak. As soon as the draw results were announced, everyone started whispering again. Most of the whispers were filled with regret. Obviously, they all thought Jiang Fan was unlucky to encounter his senior brother from the same peak. Liu Wuchen also sighed helplessly. Such bad luck, but the remaining participants are all strong, so Jiang Fan would lose to anyone anyway. Thinking this, he didn't care anymore and continued to announce the subsequent competition order. After arranging the matchups, Jiang Fan and Tao Zhengzhen arrived at the square. Cao Zhen gloated. "Kong Wushuang, do you really think Jiang Fan can win?" Kong Wushuang chuckled. "Why not?" Cao Zhen found this bizarre. That was Tao Zhengzhen, a fierce practitioner of dual cultivation of body and magic, whom even Cao Zhen himself couldn't be sure of defeating. How could Jiang Fan possibly win? Gong Caiyi had the same curiosity. "Miss Liu, are you sure Jiang Fan can win?" Liu Qingxian, leisurely sharpening her nails with a small dagger, said indifferently. "Absolutely." "Really?" Gong Caiyi felt a bit anxious. Had she underestimated Jiang Fan's martial prowess? She had placed a heavy bet on his defeat. Li Qingfeng, stroking his beard, said, "This boy is doomed to lose. Just watch, I never make mistakes in judging people." However, as soon as Liu Wuchen declared the start of the match, Tao Zhengzhen cupped his hands and stepped back. "I concede." "What?" Liu Wuchen stood up abruptly, surprised. "Tao Zhengzhen, what are you doing? Concede to Jiang Fan?" Tao Zhengzhen was his hope. He counted on Tao Zhengzhen's dual cultivation to defeat all the new disciples and maintain the prestige of Sect Master Peak. But he conceded, and to Jiang Fan, whom he never even saw as a disciple. The other elders were also shocked. One of the top contenders, Tao Zhengzhen, actually conceded. Cao Zhen was caught off guard, dumbfounded. "Is this possible? Could it be that Tao Zhengzhen has some dirt on Jiang Fan?" Li Qingfeng staggered. The sudden development left him embarrassed, saying, "How could Tao Zhengzhen be inferior to Jiang Fan?" There must have been some private agreement between the two before the match, although many disciples found it hard to accept this result. After thinking it over, they felt Li Qingfeng's explanation made sense. It was hard to explain otherwise why Tao Zhengjun conceded. Gong Caiyi, however, furrowed her brows. What's with Jiang Fan? She thought she understood him after half a month together, but why was he becoming more inscrutable? Thus, the second round of the match ended amid exclamations. Soon, the remaining 5 drew lots again. Liu Wuchen announced, Cao Zhen from Reincarnation Peak against Cheng Hao from Cloud Shocking Peak. Su Qiuning from Heavenly Sword Peak against Pan Kaiyo from Medicine Peak. Jiang Fan gets a bye. This result sparked another round of discussion. No way, this Jiang Fan had his opponent concede last round and now he gets a bye. He's been advancing purely on luck. I hereby crown him the Luck King of Green Cloud Sect. After painstakingly making her way to the top 5, Su Qiuning. She gave Jiang Fan a sidelong glance. You have unusually good luck, Jiang Fan shrugged. I would like a quick fight. Su Qiuning snorted softly, getting benefits while pretending to be modest. Then just watch my fight with someone else. After entering the sect for half a month. From the moment she took on a master, Su Qiuning had been in secluded cultivation until now. Just to display her prowess today. And hard work paid off. With the powerful resources of Green Cloud Sect, her 6th grade spirit root received a great boost. In just half a month, she broke through from the first layer of foundation establishment to the second layer. Her movement technique became more practiced, and coupled with her mastery of the exquisite swordsmanship of Heavenly Sword Peak, her strength was incomparable to when she was in Lonely Boat City. Pan Kaiyo, who managed to reach the top 5, was certainly no ordinary person. But in just 10 rounds, Su Qiuning defeated her with a single sword strike. The entire audience couldn't help but cheer. Gong Caiyi's eyes held a trace of surprise. She seems to know some movement techniques, and it appears to have some relation to Jiang Fan's. Liu Wuchen's eyes showed admiration. Li Qingfeng indeed accepted a remarkable disciple. Cao Zhen looked somewhat amazed at the girl, whose beauty and strength were both exceptional, enthusiastically congratulating. Junior Sister Su, your strength is outstanding, deserving the title of the top new female disciple. After the competition, let's spar more often. Su Qiuning was slightly surprised. This Cao Zhen was the prized pupil of the Great Elder, with a spirit root 1 grade higher than hers. And he came from a prestigious martial path family, far superior to a small family like the Su family. Such a person actively seeking her friendship. Her vanity was greatly satisfied, and she politely replied, All right, senior brother Cao. Out of the corner of her eye, she glanced at Jiang Fan. As if to tell Jiang Fan this was her, Su Qiuning's charm, attracting was always the top-tier prodigy. Unfortunately, Jiang Fan didn't even spare her a glance. This made Su Qiuning bite her silver teeth, saying, Jiang Fan, don't think just because your realm is higher than mine, you can look down on people. In Green Cloud Sect, spirit root determines the ceiling. You reach the 4th layer of foundation establishment by exhausting your potential, and it's hard to advance further. But I will slowly surpass you. Jiang Fan was stunned. How did he look down on people? He was just looking at the back of Xu Youran, thinking of Xu Youran, and missed her, so he was lost in thought. He didn't want to argue with Xu Youran, so he nodded and said, Yes, you are right. This perfunctory attitude made Su Qiuning even more annoyed. She angrily drew her sword and pointed it at Jiang Fan. I want to spar with you, dare you? After 3 rounds of competition, only Cao Zhen, Jiang Fan, and Su Qiuning were left. Normally, it would be a 2-by-2 spar, and then the final ranking would be determined. But Kong Wushuang, who had been watching the spar for a long time, felt itchy and said with a half-smile, Jiang Fan, why don't I join in as well? Is that okay? Just in time for you and that girl to spar. I will spar with Cao Zhen. Eliminate those 2 who are in the way, and then you and I will have a good fight. Without waiting for Jiang Fan's answer, Cao Zhen sneered angrily, Kong Wushuang, do you really think you are something? You want to eliminate me? Of course. He did not dare to make a decision on his own, so he angrily asked the great elder Feng Guchen, Master, please allow me to teach this rude fellow a lesson. Feng Guchen's gaze shifted, and he slowly nodded. Don't disgrace Reincarnation Peak. Wait a minute, Liu Wuchen interjected. This is the ancestral worship ceremony of our Green Cloud Sect. It is not appropriate for disciples from outer sects to participate. Kong Wushuang was the strongest new disciple of the giant sect. If he won first place at the Green Cloud Sect's ancestral worship ceremony, wouldn't it make outsiders laugh, thinking that the new disciples of the Green Cloud Sect were inferior, and were trampled underfoot by the giant sect. Kong Yuanba laughed and said, "Is Sect Master Liu worried that the new disciples of the Green Cloud sect are not as skilled and will lose face?" Feng Guchen smiled and said, "Sect Master, let the youngsters play, it's harmless. With my disciples of Reincarnation Peak, we can ensure the championship." He was smiling, but his words were full of arrogance, implying that Reincarnation Peak was the strongest in the Green Cloud sect. It was clear that he wanted to show off Reincarnation Peak's absolute strength and weaken Sect Master Peak's position with the two sect masters present. His intentions were nefarious. Liu Wuchen's expression was extremely ugly. If Tao Zhengzhen were present, there might still be a chance. But the one left was Jiang Fan, who had come this far relying on luck. How could he represent Sect Master Peak and fight against Kong Wushuang? The spotlight of this ancestral worship ceremony would be completely taken by Reincarnation Peak. Most importantly, it would be taken in front of an outer sect. This was very detrimental to the reputation of the Green Cloud sect master. Before he could object, Feng Guchen had already announced for him. "The sparring begins, Jiang Fan and Su Qiuning first." By the time Liu Wuchen came to his senses, it was already too late. He was furious in his heart. The great elder was getting more and more presumptuous, daring to issue orders in place of the sect master. But with the two outer sect masters present, he couldn't lose his temper. Otherwise, people would see the serious internal conflict of the Green Cloud sect. He could only swallow his anger and watch Jiang Fan and Su Qiuning spar. "Take this!" Su Qiuning started with her most powerful sword move, unleashing all her cultivation. Jiang Fan was puzzled. "What did I do to you to make you strike so hard? We are in the Green Cloud sect. How can you still have such a pampered attitude?" Jiang Fan would not indulge her. He decisively swept out a high-level yellow-level leg technique from the moke stone wall. Clang! Su Yining's long sword was knocked away. But she bit her lip, refusing to give up, and started punching Jiang Fan with her fists clenching aimlessly. Jiang Fan was speechless. She hadn't even learned proper fist techniques. Without hesitation, he caught her fist with one palm, then twisted her arm behind her back, easily subduing her. Su Qiuning felt humiliated. She had painstakingly practiced in seclusion for half a month, yet she was subdued by Jiang Fan in no time. This scene of a beauty being bullied made Cao Zhen extremely distressed. He angrily shouted, "You with the surname Jiang bullying junior sister Su like this. You'll pay for it later." Su Qiuning proudly snorted at Jiang Fan. "Did you hear that? Senior brother Cao will stand up for me. You're in trouble soon." "HMPH." Jiang Fan let go of her, laughing bitterly. "Let's see after he beats Kong Wushuang. My instinct tells me this Kong Wushuang won't be easy to deal with." Su Qiuning rubbed her aching arm with a hint of complaint. "Your instinct is yours. It doesn't apply to senior brother Cao. Just wait and see his capability." "Really?" Jiang Fan smiled and silently stepped aside. Cao Zhen and Kong Wushuang entered the empty space amid the crowd's calls. Both were outstanding new disciples, unmatched in strength. Cao Zhen held a long sword and said, "This sword of mine is a mid-grade magic artifact, incredibly sharp. If you get hurt later, don't blame me." Kong Wushuang crossed his arms over his chest with a bored look. "Stop the nonsense. No matter how sharp your sword is, it must be able to hit me first. Come on, I'll let you have 3 moves." "What? Let me have 3 moves?" Cao Zhen felt deeply humiliated and sneered. "I, Cao Zhen, have unmatched talent, have sparred with many people, and it has always been me letting others have moves. This is the first time someone has let me have moves. Fine. I'll see if your strength matches your arrogance." With a clang, he drew his orange long sword and decisively launched his swordsmanship. Long sky strike, chasing stars and moon, wind and cloud covering the earth. He unleashed the entire lower-level, profound-level swordsmanship in 3 continuous moves. However, these seemingly fierce moves appeared like slow motion in front of Kong Wushuang. He kept a faint smile on his face, arms crossed, without moving a step. He effortlessly dodged the 3 moves with slight shoulder movements, a tilt of the head, and a turn of the body. He really allowed the 3 moves as promised. All the elders and disciples present gasped. He didn't just allow 3 moves, he stood still and let you strike 3 moves. Even so, Cao Zhen didn't hurt a single hair on him. Our body refiners this terrifying. Their reaction speed is incredible. Feng Guchen started to panic a little. He was extremely confident in Cao Zhen's strength, which is why he insisted on Cao Zhen fighting Kong Wushuang to promote Reincarnation Peak's reputation. Who knew that Kong Wushuang would be so overwhelmingly strong? Kong Yuanba said with a sarcastic tone, "Challenging my nephew, it is courageous of you." He is the most gifted body refiner I have ever seen, much stronger than I was in my youth. Hearing this, Feng Guchen's heart sank. Liu Wuchen also expressed worry as ever. If Cao Zhen lost, the consequences would be unimaginable. On the field, Cao Zhen was shocked and a bit ashamed as well. In front of the entire sect, he was nakedly humiliated. He roared in anger and swung his sword again. Stop looking down on people? However, Kong Wushuang did not move, and he couldn't do anything, not to mention the 3 moves were over. Cao Zhen only saw a blur before his eyes, and the next moment, Kong Wushuang, who had been standing still, transformed into a blur, instantly sending Cao Zhen flying with his sword. He flew several meters away, vomiting blood, and finally landed at Liu Wuchen's feet. Liu Wuchen's face was extremely grim. He looked angrily at Feng Guchen. This defeat was not only Cao Zhen's personal loss, but also the loss of the Green Cloud sect's reputation. In front of the statue of the ancestor, at the grand ancestral worship ceremony, Green Cloud sect's strongest new disciple was severely injured by an outer sect disciple with 1 move. Isn't this a big joke? Knowing he had made a huge mistake, Feng Guchen tried to argue. Don't you still have 1 more disciple? It's not just my disciple who lost, yours will also lose. Liu Wuchen wished he could fight Feng Guchen right then and there. With such a great elder, how could the Green Cloud sect not gradually decline? But with the 2 outer sect masters present, no matter how furious he was, he had to wait until they left. With a gloomy face, he said impatiently, Jiang Fan, Kong Wushuang, quick fight. He only wanted to end this embarrassing scene quickly. After sending off the 2 sect masters, he would settle the score with Feng Guchen. Jiang Fan stepped forward expressionlessly. He also wanted to test if his iron blood true scripture could compete with Kong Wushuang, who had been refining his body since childhood. Jiang Fan also sensed Liu Wuchen's anxiety. He understood that his battle with Kong Wushuang was no longer a simple sparring match. It concerned the reputation of the Green Cloud sect. He nodded slightly, lightly tapped his toes, and came to the center of the square. He calmly said, I will do my best. You'd better not hold back. Otherwise, I can't guarantee your safety. Of course, what he meant by doing his best excluded the purple sword and earth-level finger technique. He still wanted to keep these as trump cards to catch the enemy off guard. Exposing them during sparring would be really unwise. Cao Zhen, standing nearby, felt utterly humiliated with no place to vent his shame. He had been so confident, yet ended up being brutally beaten by Kong Wushuang. Hearing Jiang Fan's words, he sneered, ignorant fool. Did you not see how formidable Kong Wushuang is just now? And you still dare to speak such arrogant words? Jiang Fan glanced at him, and with a venomous remark, he said, I didn't see how powerful Kong Wushuang is, but I did see how incompetent you are. You were given 3 moves and got knocked down in one by the enemy. If I were you, I'd cover my face and hide, not whine and embarrass myself further. The disciples and elders present all cast disappointed looks at Cao Zhen. Ignoring Cao Zhen's martial prowess, his behavior indeed made people dislike him. Jiang Fan was representing the Green Cloud sect in a battle against an outer sect right now. Cao Zhen not only failed to encourage his fellow, but also boosted the enemy's morale while undermining his own. Feng Guchen defended his disciple, snorting, What are you all looking at? What did my disciple say wrong? Ask yourselves, can this guy without a spirit root win? This, both disciples and elders sighed slightly. Indeed, with Jiang Fan's strength, it seemed impossible to win, unless he was miraculously lucky again. Even Liu Qingxian, who had confidence in Jiang Fan, furrowed her brows at this moment. Gong Caiyi, with a faint smile, said, What's the matter, Miss Liu? Lost confidence? Liu Qingxian bit her silver teeth. I believe Jiang Fan can handle Cao Zhen without a problem. But against Kong Wushuang, she really had no confidence. Gong Caiyi, confidently stretching, revealed the alluring contours of her shapely body hidden beneath her colorful dress. If that's the case, I won't hold back and take Jiang Fan. According to the agreement, Jiang Fan had to defeat Cao Zhen to win the title of the top new disciple. If he lost to Kong Wushuang, it would count as a win for Gong Caiyi. By then, she would leave an Earth Dragon crystal core and take Jiang Fan away. Liu Qingxian's heart sank. How could Jiang Fan, who possessed the 9th grade spiritual root, be taken away? She watched the battlefield intently, praying for a miracle. Unfortunately, as Kong Wushuang stepped forward and left a 1-inch deep imprint on the ground, she despaired. 6 Gates realm of body technique? Liu Qingxian's heart sank even more. Like spells, body techniques also had realms. The opening gate realm of body techniques was equivalent to the foundation establishment realm of spells. 6 gates was equivalent to the 6th layer of foundation establishment. How could a newcomer like Jiang Fan be a match for a 6 gates realm body technique expert? Facing the powerful aura of Kong Wushuang, Jiang Fan instead felt relieved. Compared to Su Qiuning, Kong Wushuang's body technique was far weaker. "Make your move!" Jiang Fan suppressed his spiritual power. He planned to confront this body-refining prodigy using the first layer of the Iron Blood True Scripture. Kong Wushuang chuckled, still keeping his hands on his chest, and repeated what he said during the fight with Kojan. "I'll let you have 3 moves." This time, no one thought he was arrogant. Instead, they felt that Kong Wushuang was giving the Green Cloud sect enough face. To prevent Jiang Fan from being defeated as soon as he entered the field, saving the Green Cloud sect from embarrassment. Impatiently, Liu Wuchen said, "Jiang Fan, stop talking and finish it quickly." Embarrassment was already a fact. The sooner it ended, the less mental torment he'd endure. Jiang Fan originally intended to advise Kong Wushuang not to be arrogant, but since Liu Wuchen urged him, he said nothing more. He slightly bent his legs. Then his calves suddenly exerted force. The immense power of his limbs made him shoot out like a rabbit in an instant. The speed was comparable to the first layer of the solitary wild goose shadow movement technique. With a calm smile, standing with his legs apart and looking relaxed, Kong Wushuang's expression suddenly changed. As a body refiner, he could sense the depth of the opponent once they made a move. Jiang Fan had casually kicked off the ground, and such a terrifying speed startled him. Only then did he realize Jiang Fan was far stronger than he had perceived. He hurriedly lowered his hands from his chest, sank his knees, and assumed a combat stance. But it was too late. Jiang Fan had already arrived like a shooting star, his fists pounded on Kong Wushuang's chest. Startled, Kong Wushuang hurriedly crossed his arms over his chest, unable to counter the blow. Bang! A muffled sound, like 2 lumps of stone crashing violently, exploded abruptly. Kong Wushuang stumbled back several steps. The tremendous force made it impossible for him to stabilize, and he landed on his buttocks. The bones in his arms felt like they had cracked, both painful and numb. The elders and disciples watching were all stunned. The gloominess on Liu Wuchen's face had turned into astonishment. Kong Yuanba's confident smile also froze at that moment. Gong Caiyi's faint smile was suddenly replaced with shock. Even Liu Qingxian, who thought she knew Jiang Fan well, covered her red lips, her almond-shaped eyes wide open. Kojan stared in disbelief. Su Qiuning's elegant eyes widened further as she murmured, He used his physique to repel the top body-refining prodigy of the 9th sect." Immediately, the disciples burst into deafening excitement and agitation. "This guy without the spirit root actually has some skills. Our Green Cloud sect still has hope. Go, junior brother Jiang, win back our honor for Green Cloud sect." The tremendous uproar snapped Kong Wushuang out of his brief daze. He leaped up, his eyes fixed on Jiang Fan, the previous confidence nowhere to be seen. As for the 3-move concession he had mentioned earlier, it now felt like a slap to his face, leaving it burning. He had actually given 3 moves to a body technique expert who was not inferior to himself. "Good, I underestimated you. You're not just any body refiner, you're an expert." Kong Wushuang clenched his fists tightly, snorting, "Then I will seriously fight you. Show you what a real body refiner is." As he spoke, cracking sounds like frying beans emanated from within his body. This was due to his muscles being mobilized to the extreme. At this moment, he resembled a killing machine brimming with violence. With a low roar, he charged at Jiang Fan like a thunderstorm. Mountain-splitting stone! His iron fists blasted towards Jiang Fan's head. Jiang Fan was not afraid. He also mobilized his full strength, opting for a direct confrontation. Copper skin, iron bone! Bang! A sickening sound of body impact, like muffled thunder, reverberated through the square. The result of this clash left everyone present dumbfounded. But Jiang Fan stood still like a mountain. He remained standing erect. Kong Wushuang, however, was sent flying backward, heavily crashing onto the ground, his arms twisted irregularly, clearly broken. Such a result left everyone present shocked and speechless. Kong Wushuang, who had given his all, Kong Wushuang, the #1 body refinement genius of the 9th sect, Kong Wushuang, who had defeated the Green Cloud sect's first newcomer with 1 move, was defeated by Jiang Fan in his most proud field with 1 move. Liu Wuchen was stunned. The disciple he least favored won against the formidable opponent who had defeated Kojan. He immediately recovered, overjoyed, rushing forward and holding Jiang Fan's shoulders with both hands, his face full of delight. Well done. Well done indeed. The Green Cloud sect's reputation was not only upheld but greatly enhanced. Doesn't your giant sect pride itself as the #1 in body refinement techniques? Sorry, but your strongest newcomer disciple is no match even for a disciple of our Green Cloud sect without a spirit root. Kong Yuanba hurried forward to check, discovering that Kong Wushuang's arms were broken, both shocked and angry. Kid, you struck too hard, didn't you? Gong Caiyi leapt to Jiang Fan's side. With a touch of schadenfreude, it was their ancestor worship ceremony, and the giant sect wanted to show off. When you lose face, you get furious. Seeing that both sect master-level figures were defending Jiang Fan, Kong Yuanba gritted his teeth, gave Jiang Fan a hateful glare. Good kid, I'll remember you. Hope you don't run into our giant sect disciples during the beast-tide defense, he said, then carried Kong Wushuang away with a grim face. As they watched him leave, Liu Wuchen and Gong Caiyi both secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Liu Wuchen cupped his hands toward Gong Caiyi, gratefully saying, "Thank you, Sect Master Gong, for your support. Kong Yuanba has always been overbearing and protective. My disciple injured his favorite pupil. In the past, he would never have let it go easily." Gong Caiyi turned her head to look at Jiang Fan with a touch of regret, sighing, "I really like you. It's a pity we have no fate together." Her tone contained unmistakable regret. She had lost the bet with Liu Qingshan. According to the agreement, she would no longer mention accepting Jiang Fan as a disciple. Jiang Fan had a deep affection for the gentle and considerate sect master of the Spirit Beast sect, cupping his hands, saying, "Sect Master Gong, you have taken great care of me during this time, which I will remember deeply." Gong Caiyi finally showed a slight smile, took out a bottle of Earth Phoenix grass juice from her waist. "As agreed, it's yours." Jiang Fan was delighted. "Thank you. Sect Master Gong, this is an excellent item. Combined with top-grade Foundation Establishment pills, it can improve the Foundation Establishment realm once more." Then, Gong Caiyi also stuffed a black sword into his arms. "This sword is a personal gift from me. Keep it as a memento." Jiang Fan looked at it, even more thrilled. This was a mid-grade magic artifact pulled from the sword tomb of Heavenly Sword Peak. The purple sword on his back was indeed powerful, but unless facing a life-and-death enemy, it was inappropriate to use. For normal practice duels, a magic artifact like the black sword was necessary. "Sect Master Gong, your kindness I truly don't know how to repay," Jiang Fan said, feeling a bit embarrassed. Gong Caiyi covered her mouth with a light laugh. "What could I want from you? If you have the chance in the future, come visit the Spirit Beast sect. I'll personally entertain you." Jiang Fan nodded heavily. "I will definitely visit." Thus, Gong Caiyi called for her flying beast, and with her disciples, soared into the sky, leaving with indescribable regret. However, Liu Qingshan let out a long sigh of relief, murmuring, "Finally, this woman is gone." Then she approached Jiang Fan with a smile, looked at Liu Wuchen, who was grinning from ear to ear, playfully winking. "How about it, father? Your daughter's judgment isn't bad, right? Having you take Jiang Fan as a disciple didn't disappoint you, did it?" Liu Wuchen coughed lightly, looking at Jiang Fan with a bit less prejudice. Jiang Fan's strong talent in body refinement was indeed unexpected. It's a pity that our Green Cloud sect's resources for body refinement are far inferior to the giant sects. He felt regretful in his heart. If only Jiang Fan's talent lay in the spell aspect, then he would surely focus on cultivating Jiang Fan. Unfortunately, the Green Cloud sect was not skilled in body refinement. Watching all this from afar, Kojan was so jealous that his eyes turned red. The opponent he lost to miserably, Jiang Fan easily defeated. Doesn't that mean he is inferior to Jiang Fan? What's so great about it? He just had good luck winning against Kong Wushuang once, he resentfully protested. Jiang Fan showed a hint of distaste in his eyes. This person was indeed annoying. He couldn't help saying, "If I remember correctly, you made an agreement with senior sister Liu, right? If I won at the ancestor worship ceremony, you would leave Reincarnation Peak and join Sect Master Peak. Isn't it time to honor that agreement now?" At these words, everyone's face changed. Kojan was a 7th grade spirit root, the Great Elder's most prized new disciple. If he was really forced to leave Reincarnation Peak and join Sect Master Peak, how much face would Reincarnation Peak lose? Upon hearing this, Feng Guchen immediately rebuked. "You impudent child, that was just a joke. How can it be taken seriously? Don't try to sow discord between Reincarnation Peak and Sect Master Peak." "Oh, not willing to admit it, and to falsely accuse Jiang Fan of having ulterior motives. Jiang Fan looked coldly at Cao Zhen. A bet made in front of a sect master, 9 elders, and all disciples, can that be a joke? Cao Zhen, if you can't afford to lose, don't play. It's disgraceful. Cao Zhen's pride was very strong indeed. Hearing this, he became furious. He gritted his teeth, turned and knelt before Feng Guchen, bowing. Disciple Cao Zhen has been unfilial, failing to win the bet. Now I will honor the agreement and leave Reincarnation Peak. Then, he approached Liu Wuchen, kneeling on one knee. Liu Wuchen was excited. This was a 7th grade spirit root with endless potential, just like his daughter. But his next words troubled Liu Wuchen. Sect Master, I am willing to join Sect Master Peak. But I disdain being with Jiang Fan. Sect Master Peak can have either him or me, not both, the implication, forcing Liu Wuchen to expel Jiang Fan from the sect. One without a spirit root, and one with a 7th grade spirit root. Who would Liu Wuchen choose? Is there even a question? Cao Zhen's malicious intent was evident to all. There was no way Liu Wuchen would expel Jiang Fan, especially since he was engaged to his daughter. But he also could not give up on Cao Zhen. Cao Zhen, Jiang Fan has just made a great contribution. If I expel him from the sect, what would people think of me? Liu Wuchen persuasively said. Enemies should be reconciled rather than kept at odds. Spare me and make peace with him henceforth, what do you say? Having said this much, could Cao Zhen not oblige? He shifted his gaze, coldly laughing. Making peace with him is not impossible. I heard that as a waste spirit root, he has 2 beautiful wives. If he's willing to give me one, I might consider, before he finished. Jiang Fan beside him flashed a cold light in his eyes and unhesitatingly delivered a shocking dragon palm. Cao Zhen, already on guard, sneered angrily. You bastard. I've wanted to teach you a lesson. Do you really think you're better than me? If it was a contest of physique, Cao Zhen admitted he was no match for Jiang Fan, but when it came to spells, Jiang Fan wasn't even fit to carry his shoes. Wind and cloud covering the earth. He decisively drew his sword and immediately used his strongest sword move. One person used his fist, the other used a sword. One was a trash without a spirit root, the other was a 7th grade spirit root prodigy. Needless to say, the outcome of this contest, Jiang Fan would definitely have his fist sliced off by a sword, ending the fight with blood splattered on the spot. Some female disciples had already started screaming in advance. Some male disciples couldn't bear to look and turned their eyes away. Several elders shook their heads slightly. Clearly, he has an advantage in physique, but he insists on colliding his weakness with Cao Zhen's strength. He's going to learn a painful lesson now. Seeing this, Liu Wuchen immediately shouted angrily. Stop, he stepped in to intervene. Feng Guchen, however, was overjoyed, and with a sweep of his sleeve, he threw a punch towards Liu Wuchen to stop him from separating the two. If Liu Wuchen took away his disciple, he would make him lose one too. Only then would it be fair, in the blink of an eye. Jiang Fan and Cao Zhen were already fighting. The shocking thing was, before Cao Zhen's sword could strike, Jiang Fan's shocking dragon palm had already landed on his shoulder. Crack! The crisp sound of bones breaking echoed throughout the place. Immediately after, Cao Zhen flew backwards like lightning, crashing heavily into the stone steel in the plaza. The immense force caused the steel to crack, spiderweb-like fissures spreading all over it. Not only did blood flow from Cao Zhen's mouth and nose, but also from his eyes. His injuries were quite severe. In contrast, Jiang Fan stood calmly in place and said lightly, Not worthy to walk alongside me. Then you'd better weigh your worth first. Everyone was stunned. Their gazes grew increasingly shocked. Elder Li, this is what you called exhausting his potential? An elder questioned Li Qingfeng once again. Several elders who had overlooked Jiang Fan before also cast unfriendly looks at Li Qingfeng. If this is considered exhausting potential, then what about Cao Zhen? What about other new prodigies? Li Qingfeng's face turned red from the questioning. He stubbornly argued, This boy must have been meticulously guided by sect master Gong. That's why he made a little progress. Without such thorough nurturing in the future, he won't make any more progress. Prejudice, one could say, is a mountain. Easy to form, hard to move. The elders found this explanation barely acceptable. After all, Gong Caiyi's favor for Jiang Fan was genuine. Who knows, she might have secretly given him some precious treasures. Liu Qingxian covered her mouth and laughed secretly. A bunch of fools, still in the dark about it. The reason Jiang Fan was strong wasn't due to outside guidance, it was because he was inherently strong. Gazing at Cao Zhen, who looked like a dead dog, Liu Qingxian patted Jiang Fan's shoulder. Well done. Such scum who tries to seize another's wife should be dealt with exactly like this. After a brief daze, Liu Wuchen hurriedly went to check on Cao Zhen. How are your injuries? This was a 7th grade spirit root disciple. Who would have expected? Cao Zhen pushed Liu Wuchen away and gritted his teeth. No need for sect master Liu's concern. He forced himself to stand, looking at the gazes upon him. Remembering his humiliating defeat, he felt utterly ashamed. He clenched his fists and glared at Jiang Fan with hatred. I, Cao Zhen, will avenge this humiliation someday. Since Green Cloud Sect can't accommodate me, I'll leave the Green Cloud Sect. I hope you won't regret it in the future, he shouted angrily, limping towards the mountain gate. Liu Wuchen tried to persuade him several times, but Cao Zhen refused adamantly. Given that Cao Zhen's family, the Cao family, was a significant martial path family, forcing him into confinement was not an option. In the end, he could only slap his thigh and watch him leave with regret. A 7th grade spirit root, considered a treasure in any of the 9 sect. Green Cloud Sect had let it go. He turned his head, glaring at Jiang Fan with resentment. Liu Qiuning pouted, standing in front of Jiang Fan. What did Jiang Fan do wrong? The elders sighed deeply. As bystanders, they firmly supported Jiang Fan and didn't feel he did anything excessive. Publicly insulting his wife, it's a wonder he wasn't killed. But they also understood Liu Wuchen. As the sect master, controlling sect master peak, facing an aggressive great elder, losing a 7th grade spirit root must make one feel aggrieved. Feng Guchen, having lost his cherished disciple, was furious. He glared at Jiang Fan. You think you're strong? Fine, in a month we have the sect's disciple evaluation. Let's see how long you can laugh. With that, he left in anger. Liu Qiuxing's expression changed slightly. She said to Liu Wuchen, Dad, this time the disciple evaluation will be presided over by Reincarnation Peak's true disciple, Tang Tianlong. He's a Foundation Establishment 8th layer master. He'll surely use the evaluation to target Jiang Fan. No matter how strong Jiang Fan was, it would be hard to face an 8th layer. During evaluations, accidents leading to injury or even the breaking of the Danshan were not uncommon. This time, having caused the great elder to lose a cherished disciple, how could they let him off easily? Liu Wuchen snorted. That's his own fault, he left in a huff. Liu Qiuxing grew anxious, regretting accepting Cao Zhen's challenge initially. If not for that, today's situation wouldn't have happened. Senior sister, don't worry, Jiang Fan comforted. I'll be cautious, it should be fine. There's still a month, after all. He thought his cultivation would see further improvement. Moreover, with his movement technique, even if he couldn't match Tang Tianlong, it would be hard for Tang Tianlong to harm him publicly. Liu Qiuxing bit her lip. You don't understand what the disciple evaluation means. If you get rated as lower class, you'll have to leave Green Cloud Sect and be sent to a city under its control as city lord. Like Yi Jiafeng in Lonely Boat City, he was once a demoted disciple. What? Jiang Fan was shocked. The next evaluation rights were in the hands of Reincarnation Peak. If they used poor performance as an excuse to demote him, wouldn't he be forced to leave? Away from Green Cloud Sect, forget resources. Even Foundation Establishment pill materials would be hard to find. This meant, during Tang Tianlong's evaluation, he needed to show unmatched strength. He had to make it impossible for them to justify a lower rank. In other words, his strength had to match Tang Tianlong's, but Tang Tianlong was a Foundation Establishment 8th layer. He was barely at the 4th layer. He needed significant breakthroughs in cultivation and techniques. Speaking of techniques, Jiang Fan naturally thought about his reward for the first place in the sacrificial ceremony and said, Senior sister, is my reward still valid? Liu Wuchen had left, hadn't announced the results. Liu Qiuxing smiled bitterly. Even if you get an immortal book, what of it? A month is too short to master anything. She felt it was merely grasping at straws. To her surprise, Jiang Fan muttered, Does the Green Cloud Sect's book collection pavilion have such powerful techniques? It takes a month to master. Liu Qiuxing felt like hitting someone. What kind of talk was this? Even if it's a yellow-level cultivation technique, practicing it to some degree takes at least 3 to 5 years. But in Jiang Fan's mouth, cultivation techniques seemed as simple as drinking water. She admitted that Jiang Fan's spirit root was extremely high, but spirit root only determined the speed of cultivation. The cultivation of techniques involved comprehension. I think you're getting carried away, Liu Qiuxing gave him a side-eye. Jiang Fan shrugged and said, I just want to know if the reward counts. Liu Qiuxing replied, Of course it counts. This is a rule that has existed in history. Moreover, the book collection pavilion of the Green Cloud sect is managed by the Supreme Elder. Even if my father wanted to stop you, he has no authority. Huh. Jiang Fan looked puzzled. Why is there still a Supreme Elder? Liu Qingxian said speechlessly. Is that strange? Otherwise, did you think the past sect masters and elders would all be dead? Jiang Fan then realized that what he saw was just the surface strength of the Green Cloud sect. As martial artists with strong cultivation, their physiques were several times better than ordinary people. Hence, their lifespan was also very long. Usually, at a certain age or realm, they would start to focus entirely on the martial path, leaving the management of the sect to the younger generation. Otherwise, a sect like the Green Cloud sect with hundreds of years of history couldn't possibly have only a group of middle-aged sect masters and elders. Those elders were merely in seclusion, not all dead. He suddenly felt enlightened. Accompanied by Liu Qingxian, they arrived at the book collection pavilion. The book collection pavilion was located halfway up Sect Master Peak, a large hall excavated from the mountain. The entrance of the hall was desolate. An old man in a wrinkled gray robe was squatting on the ground, teasing a mottled little mutt. From time to time, he grinned, revealing a mouthful of big yellow teeth. "Senior Huang," Liu Qingxian respectfully bowed. In front of others, Liu Qingxian always acted alone and had a proud personality. But facing this old man, she showed great respect. The old man in front of them was the previous elder of Carefree Peak, Huang Zhanshan, now retired to the book collection pavilion, spending his days reading various ancient books in search of ways to break through his bottleneck. Upon hearing this, he didn't even lift his head, saying, "Brought the newcomer for the ancestor worship ceremony, huh?" Liu Qingxian cupped her hands and said, "Indeed. Please, Senior Huang, give us some convenience." Huang Zhanshan then lifted his head and looked at Jiang Fan, saying, "What's your name?" "Jiang Fan." Huang Zhanshan showed a hint of surprise. "You're the Jiang Fan that Wuji mentioned. You actually took first place among the newcomers. No wonder he can't stop thinking about you. Came crying to me when drunk. You really have some skills." Having no spirit root but still taking first place, Huang Zhanshan could sense Jiang Fan's prowess. Then he glanced at Liu Qingxian. "But why did you come? In the past, you never personally led newcomer disciples here. Could it be you've reached the age of spring emotions?" These words made Liu Qingxian feel awkward, and she smiled wryly. "Senior Huang, please don't joke around. Jiang Fan is just my junior brother, nothing more." Huang Zhanshan teased. "You have so many junior brothers. Since when did you ever show a good face to any of them?" Then he mischievously said, "Jiang boy, you're quite lucky. The most beautiful girl of the 9 sect likes you so much, you better not miss this chance." "Senior Huang." Liu Qingxian's face turned red. She stamped her foot and pouted. Huang Zhanshan laughed heartily. All right, I'll stop teasing. Jiang boy, go inside and pick any cultivation technique. You have the time of one incense stick. Girl, you stay outside, you can't go in." Jiang Fan nodded and stepped inside. Huang Zhanshan then said, "I want to see how capable this boy truly is. Good cultivation techniques in the scripture pavilion are hard to find." Liu Qingxian couldn't help but worry. Although the scripture pavilion had an endless array of cultivation techniques, they varied greatly in quality. There were both extremely excellent techniques and inferior ones. The former made up only a small fraction. They were all mixed together. Finding an excellent technique within the time of one incense stick was not an easy task. In the past, few disciples who came to the scripture pavilion found excellent techniques. Liu Qingxian reluctantly said, "We'll have to see his luck." Huang Zhanshan said meaningfully, "Luck is just one part of it. Personal insight is crucial. What seems like an excellent technique might not be truly excellent, and what seems ordinary might not be truly ordinary." Liu Qingxian was stunned, unable to grasp his meaning for a moment. As for Jiang Fan, he had already stepped into the scripture pavilion. The densely packed bookshelves intersected like a maze, and on the shelves lay numerous cultivation techniques. Each cultivation technique had a layer of restriction on its surface, preventing it from being opened. It could only be taken out for Senior Huang to unlock outside. This eliminated the possibility of someone secretly memorizing multiple techniques. Jiang Fan arrived at the swordsmanship section, which had the most bookshelves, a total of more than 10. The time of one incense stick was only enough to briefly browse through them once. Yellow level high swordsmanship, fiery sun 9 forms, profound level lower swordsmanship, dragon and snake dance, profound level middle swordsmanship, ice heart sword Ju, profound level middle swordsmanship, green lotus sword song. Countless techniques flashed before Jiang Fan's eyes. Among them, even a profound-level high technique, demon sword technique, appeared, making Jiang Fan very tempted. Profound level high, this was the highest level technique in the Green Cloud sect. After a brief consideration, he decisively abandoned it. The introduction detailed the downsides of this technique. Although powerful, it easily caused mental disorder during execution. Jiang Fan always believed that staying calm in life-and-death battles was extremely crucial. If one lost their sanity, no matter how strong they were, it was easy for the opponent to counterkill. So he painfully gave it up. As the time of one incense stick passed, Jiang Fan had not yet found the swordsmanship he needed. Suddenly, his gaze landed on a profound level lower technique called sword heart engraving. Next to it, there was an introduction. This technique was engraved on a meteorite from beyond the sky, difficult to cultivate, with ordinary sword moves. The only advantage is a slight shaking effect during execution, generally weak in killing enemies. Be cautious in choosing. Jiang Fan twitched his mouth. From the description, its power was very ordinary, only worthy of a yellow-level technique. But because it was difficult to cultivate, it was exceptionally rated as a profound-level technique. Who would choose this? Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly felt something amiss. It shouldn't be. If the sword moves are ordinary, how could they cause a shaking effect? He considered himself to have mastered the yellow-level high 7-star sword Ju to perfection. But he had never produced the so-called space vibration. Could it be that those who attempted this sword move did not comprehend the correct sword form? As he hesitated, Senior Huang's reminder came from outside. Time's up. Bring the chosen technique out. Jiang Fan gritted his teeth, picked up the sword heart engraving, and then went outside the hall. Huang Zhanshan, with a hint of anticipation, stretched out his hand. Come, let this old man see how the insight of the junior that Wuji values so much fares. As Jiang Fan handed over the technique, Liu Qingxian glanced at the title and exclaimed in astonishment. Oh no. Jiang Fan, why did you choose this? This is a waste technique. Many people refused to believe it and chose it, only to find it was exactly as described after practicing. Jiang Fan was stunned. It turned out he wasn't the only one who thought that way. Did he fall into a trap? Seeing the manual, Huang Zhanshan sneered. Looks like your eyesight isn't great. This stupid manual has fooled a lot of disciples. Today, there's one more fool. Jiang Fan was unwilling to accept it. He had entered the scripture pavilion with great difficulty, but he ended up with such trash. He was a bit unwilling, he said. I'll give it a try first. Huang Zhanshan snorted. All the previous disciples said the same thing. Each of them just as stubborn, not giving up until the very end. You'll see once you open it. He then lifted the restriction on the manual and returned it to Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan was not willing to give up. He eagerly opened the manual. It had 2 parts. One part was illustrations, the other was text. The illustrations depicted the cultivation technique engraved on the meteorite, although somewhat blurred and hard to decipher. Therefore, the collector copied the text beside the illustrations. Jiang Fan, too lazy to decipher the illustrations one by one, carefully read the copied text. After reading through, he found it indeed simple and easy to understand. He drew his black sword and started practicing. Huang Zhanshan was taken aback. Girl, what is this boy trying to do? Could it be he has comprehended this swordsmanship and is going to practice a set? Liu Qingxian was also puzzled. Even though the sword heart engraving was simple, it still required a month of comprehension and hard practice. Jiang Fan had just flipped through it just now. Soon, the two were simultaneously shocked. They saw Jiang Fan truly holding the black sword and practicing on the spot. The sword moves were identical to those practiced before. Every move caused a slight tremor in the air, producing weak explosive sounds. Wasn't this indeed sword heart engraving? Huang Zhanshan widened his old eyes. Gosh, this is a sword Dao genius seen once in a century. Our Green Cloud sect has gained a great treasure. Liu Qingxian was also shocked. What Jiang Fan mumbled earlier wasn't just him getting carried away. Instead, it was that he indeed had extraordinary comprehension of sword Dao. Jiang Fan paid no attention to their expressions. He looked unsatisfied. Practicing once, too, turned out to be the same shabby result. Yet he still felt something was off. The sword moves were quite ordinary, but why did they cause air vibrations? It didn't make sense. Did he misunderstand something? Unwilling to give up, he reread the copied text, ensuring he didn't misinterpret any part. Suddenly, he unintentionally turned to the page with the illustrations. A thought struck him. Could the problem lie in the copying? So he compared the copied text while carefully discerning the characters on the meteorite. He focused. At a closer look, he did find a problem. It wasn't that the text was copied wrong, but a few extremely blurred characters looked like words initially, yet upon closer inspection, appeared like the moves of someone practicing swordsmanship. After a long gaze, Jiang Fan memorized all the blurred characters. Then he reviewed the entire technique. Moments later, he suddenly realized. So that's it. Excited, he picked up his black sword and practiced again. Splitting light sword, boom. As the sword slashed out, a massive thunderous explosion resounded. The air currents surged and the strong wind howled. The immense thunder sound shocked Liu Qingxian and Huang Zhanshan, making their bodies tremble and their ears buzz. Sunrise over the sea. Another slash, even more violent, thunderous explosion, completely deafening them. Thus, the last move, Heaven and Earth Star Fall, was unleashed. They couldn't hear anything. They only saw the air in front of Jiang Fan violently boiling. The surrounding grass and trees were shattered in an instant. The power was terrifying. Huang Zhanshan couldn't sit still, leaping up and staring in shock at the scene before him. Is this sword heart engraving? Even high-level profound techniques aren't this powerful. His gaze towards Jiang Fan completely changed. This won't do. Such a prodigy in sword Dao must not be buried in sect master peak. I'm going to find Liu Wuchen and bring him to carefree peak. Liu Qingxian was equally stunned. She suddenly understood why Gong Caiyi liked Jiang Fan so much. It was likely because Gong Caiyi accidentally discovered Jiang Fan's supreme talent in sword Dao. Hearing Huang Zhanshan start fighting for the person too, she felt bitter. Why did none of them play by the rules? After just driving away Gong Caiyi, her own supreme elder came to snatch him. She quickly said, "Senior Huang, you've already retired. According to the rules, you can't interfere in the sect's internal matters. Otherwise, if the other supreme elders follow suit, won't it cause chaos?" Just a few steps away, Huang Zhanshan stopped unwillingly and said, "But your father doesn't know swordsmanship at all. If he keeps this boy, it's like holding on to something he can't use. No, even if it breaks the rules, I have to do this." Liu Qingxian's mind raced. She urgently said, "But if Jiang Fan goes to carefree peak, who can instruct him in swordsmanship?" This stumped Huang Zhanshan. With such extraordinary talent, he admitted he couldn't teach him, let alone Zhao Wuji. It seemed wherever Jiang Fan went, he would be buried, and it would break the rules, causing chaos in Green Cloud sect. He scratched his head, pounding his chest in frustration, and roared up to the sky, "Liu Wuchen, you've ruined my carefree peak." Liu Qingxian was amused and saddened. If Huang Zhanshan knew that Liu Wuchen didn't appreciate this incomparably talented prodigy, he would probably rush to sect master peak and beat Liu Wuchen up. She couldn't help but sigh inwardly, "Dad, you are blessed but don't know it." Jiang Fan ignored the two of them. He was delighted to see the destructive aftermath before him, not mentioning how powerful the moves were, far surpassing the 7-star sword Jiu by several times. Just the thundering explosions with each move could throw an unprepared enemy into chaos, giving a chance to strike. He felt more confident for the disciple raiding a month later. Since you've finished practicing, this sword heart engraving will be taken back by me." Huang Zhanshan interrupted his thoughts. Jiang Fan hurriedly handed the manual back, but Huang Zhanshan looked troubled, not taking it. He didn't know what to do with this manual. Calling it lower-level profound seemed off, as its power rivaled lower-level earth techniques. But calling it lower-level earth, others practiced it as yellow-level, only Jiang Fan's was earth-level. Seeing him troubled, Jiang Fan tentatively said, "Senior, do you want me to write down the true method of practicing this manual?" Huang Zhanshan was stunned, then sternly said, "Do I need you to write it?" Letting Jiang Fan write it implied he, a supreme elder, was inferior to a disciple. "You two may leave." Huang Zhanshan waved them off. After they left, Huang Zhanshan quickly opened Sword Heart Engraving, muttering, "If that boy can comprehend the true moves, then I certainly can too." So he carefully read it over and over again. He practiced it 10 times and then another 10 times. He practiced from noon until it was dark. Huang Zhanshan finally broke the sword in his hand into 2 pieces with frustration and threw them on the ground. "Damn it, how did this kid practice it? Why can't I get it?" He felt a bit remorseful, thinking he shouldn't have been so arrogant earlier. Now he couldn't grasp it. This was an earth-level technique right in front of him, yet he couldn't master it. This would keep him awake for several nights. On the other side, Jiang Fan and Liu Qingxian were walking back to Sect Master Peak. They found that the disciples were hurrying down the mountain. "What happened?" Liu Qingxian stopped a disciple, frowning. "Senior sister, the Sect Master is urgently summoning all disciples and elders, saying that after Sect Master Kong left the Green Cloud Sect, He went 100 Beasts Mountain and killed the mate of the Beast King. That Beast King mistakenly thinks it was us from the Green Cloud sect who did it, and now it's rampaging through the cities within the Green Cloud sect's territory. There was no doubt. Kong Yuanbo was seeking revenge on the Green Cloud sect. Liu Qingxian was so angry her brows knitted tightly. That bastard! The Beast King of 100 Beasts Mountain has strength comparable to our Green Cloud sect's elders, and it commands thousands of demon beasts. Once they start wreaking havoc, the consequences will be severe. Jiang Fan, let's hurry too. Jiang Fan nodded without hesitation. He had recently broken through to the 4th layer of Foundation Establishment Realm, but his foundation was not solid. Hunting demon beasts could quickly solidify his foundation. When they arrived at the plaza, it was already crowded. Countless disciples had gathered. Liu Wuchen didn't wait for everyone to gather and immediately informed them of the emergency situation. Chaos from the demon beasts of 100 Beasts Mountain is invading 10 cities. We are now dispatching 100 disciples to the 10 cities to slay low-level demon beasts. Upon hearing this, everyone was thrown into turmoil. Before the beast tide even arrived, a beast king was already causing trouble within the Green Cloud sect. If they didn't quell the situation quickly, when the beast tide did come, the Green Cloud sect would be attacked from both inside and out. However, the demon beasts of 100 Beasts Mountain were not easy to deal with. Each one was extraordinary, possessing various bizarre innate divine abilities. They were extremely difficult to exterminate. The fact that the Green Cloud sect had tolerated them within its territory for years spoke volumes. Now going to slay them involved considerable risk. This made many disciples resistant. But Liu Wuchen's next words made them all excited. This hunt for demon beasts will be rewarded based on merit. Killing 1 Qi cultivation demon beast will earn you 1 merit point. Killing 1 Foundation Establishment Realm demon beast will earn you 10 merit points. If you can slay that core formation realm demon king, you will earn 100 merit points. With merit points, you can enter the Green Cloud sect's holy hall for cultivation. The more merit points you have, the longer you can cultivate inside. What? Upon hearing this, they couldn't remain calm. The holy hall, that is a place where only the supreme elders are qualified to cultivate. It's said that the spiritual energy there is as dense as fog. Cultivating for a day there is equivalent to cultivating for a month outside. If one can cultivate there for 10 days, it would be equivalent to a year of hard cultivation outside. Even a pig could break through a realm, but there are only 100 spots available, only a few lucky ones can go. After the announcement, Liu Wuchen ordered someone to bring up a large box. Inside were wooden plaques engraved with the names of all Green Cloud sect disciples. A random draw, 10 members per team, with the highest cultivation level as the team leader. Everyone was eagerly anticipating. Liu Wuchen slapped the box with his palm, and a large number of wooden plaques flew out. He waved his sleeve, randomly catching 10 of them. Zhang Ju of Mad Blade Peak, Su Qiuning of Medicine Peak, Zhang Yi of Reincarnation Peak. Head to Bilu City immediately. Tang Tianlong of Reincarnation Peak, Su Yining of Heavenly Sword Peak, Zhou Chengzhai of Carefree Peak head to Lonely Boat City immediately. Su Yining was delighted upon hearing this. She was actually selected, and she was teamed with Tang Tianlong, who was at the 8th layer of Foundation Establishment Realm. This mission was as good as done. Jiang Fan of Sect Master Peak, Ding Wanping of Heavenly Sword Peak, Chen Silin of Heavenly Sword Peak head to Cloud Sun City immediately. Upon hearing this, the disciples murmured in surprise. This team is not very strong. The only strong old disciple is Ding Wanping, who is at the 6th layer of Foundation Establishment, while the other old disciples are quite mediocre. The key point is there are 2 newcomers, Jiang Fan and Chen Silin. Won't they be dragging the team down? It's hard to say if they can exterminate the demon beasts. They might even lose people. Su Yining was gloating. She shouted to Jiang Fan from a distance. If you're afraid of dying, you can take your little concubine and quit, giving up your spot. Jiang Fan rolled his eyes at her in annoyance. He couldn't be bothered to respond to her. Tang Tianlong, upon hearing this, came over to Su Yining. Looking at Su Yining's graceful figure and beautiful appearance, his eyes were filled with undisguised desire, and he chuckled. What, you know Jiang Fan? Su Yining was flattered. She was actually approached by Tang Tianlong. She nodded with a complicated expression. He was once my fiancé, now he's my sister's. Seeing Jiang Fan defeat Kong Wushuang with a punch, and extinguish Cao Zhen with a palm, she felt uncomfortable, very disappointed, with indescribable emotions in her heart. She longed for no one shadow guard to appear by her side to give her the courage to face Jiang Fan. Unfortunately, there was no one by her side. Tang Tianlong's appearance made her feel like she had found a strong dependence. His next words gave her renewed confidence. Sixth grade spirit root, outstanding appearance, such a proud daughter, yet her fiancé is someone who advanced by overdrafting his potential. I feel it's not worth it for you. With your conditions, finding a real dragon among men is not difficult. Luckily, you escaped this misfortune. It's just a pity for your sister, who has to bear the burden of this useless fiancé for you. These words hit Su Qiuning's sore spot. After all this time, finally, someone understood her. She looked at Jiang Fan again, and her feelings gradually dissipated. She couldn't help but mock herself. Why do I keep wanting to compete with him? He isn't worth it. Chen Silin, who was by Jiang Fan's side, had already heard Xu Youran talk about Su Qiuning's situation. Seeing that she still couldn't see reason, Chen Silin advised earnestly, Miss Su, things between you and Jiang Fan are long over. Why keep holding a grudge? Live your life well. Jiang Fan rarely thinks about you anymore. The first two sentences didn't affect Su Qiuning much, but the last sentence hit a nerve, making her recently calm face turn cold. Who do you think you are? Just a concubine. How dare you lecture me? You better worry about whether you can survive. With Jiang Fan's meager abilities, he can barely protect himself. Chen Silin didn't expect her goodwill to be met with such an attitude. Her delicate brows raised slightly. She took Jiang Fan's arm, confidently said, No need for Miss Su to worry. I believe in my husband. He will protect me and take me into the holy hall. Su Qiuning was so angry she gritted her teeth. She accepted losing to her elder sister Xu Youran. But why could a woman who came later dare to flaunt in front of her? Could it be she was inferior to even Chen Silin? Fine. Let's see who gets more, you from Jiang Fan or me from senior brother Tang. Chen Silin responded without hesitation. Sure, no problem. Tang Tianlong laughed, saying, Junior sister Su, how can you make me compare to a useless person? That's too insulting to me, isn't it? Su Yining's face turned awkward just as she was about to apologize. Tang Tianlong sighed. There's no need to compare, he's not worthy. But I will let junior sister Su know, even just being in a team with me will bring you 10 times more benefits than being that useless person's woman. Su Yining's face regained a bit of shine. She looked at Jiang Fan with a complicated gaze. When Liu Wuchen finished drawing lots, the 100 disciples were divided into 10 teams according to the draw. Time is tight, you only have a quarter of an hour to prepare. A quarter of an hour. That wasn't even enough time to make a trip back to the mountain gate. It was just enough for a brief conversation with close ones. Wanping, Silin. Li Qingfeng walked straight to their team with a worried expression, saying, The demon beasts of 100 Beasts Mountain are no small matter. If you encounter them, you must be extremely careful. As he spoke, he took out a bag of healing herbs, several pills to replenish spiritual power, and some spirit talismans. These were worth several hundred crystal stones. Ding Wanping happily accepted them. Master is always good to us. Then he looked at Jiang Fan standing beside Chen Silin, feeling increasingly annoyed. Coincidentally, Liu Wuchen was also distributing resources to the disciples of Sect Master Peak. Finally, it was Jiang Fan's turn. In the rush, the sect master and elders didn't have enough resources prepared. When it was Jiang Fan's turn, only 2 healing pills were left. Liu Wuchen threw them to Jiang Fan without expression. This is all there is. But your cultivation is average. If you encounter a demon beast, focus on evading it. Leave the beast slaying to Ding Wanping. These 2 pills are enough. After giving the brief instructions, he turned and left. The difference in the care Li Qingfeng showed towards his disciples was striking. Jiang Fan touched his nose. It seemed driving away Cao Zhen had made Liu Wuchen very displeased. Ding Wanping seized the chance to mock him. Poor thing, about to depart with no one concerned about you. Even the master only gave you 2 healing pills, and that's it. Tusk. Chen Silin saw this, and feeling distressed, held Jiang Fan's hand. Husband, you can use my pills and spirit talismans, don't be sad. Warmed by her words, Jiang Fan pinched her smooth cheek and held her in his arms. Silly, why would I need yours? What Green Cloud sect provided was just some ordinary medicine. How could they compare to those he made himself? Once they got to Cloud Sun City and gathered some herbs, the pills and medicines he could make would be far better than these. You're getting affectionate even before leaving the sect. What will you be like outside? Xu Youran's resentful voice came drifting over. Chen Silin, startled, jumped out of Jiang Fan's embrace, blushing and looking down. Sister, I wouldn't dare. As the primary wife, Xu Youran hadn't even united with Jiang Fan yet. How could she dare surpass her? Phew, Xu Youran couldn't help but laugh. I was just kidding. Look how scared you are. All those things will happen sooner or later. Since I accepted you, how could I mind? She pulled Chen Silin's hand and placed it in Jiang Fan's palm. I'll leave Silin to you. Don't let her get hurt. Jiang Fan smiled slightly and held both women in his arms, one on each side. This made Ding Wanping, who had been feeling proud, suddenly find the care from his master unappealing. Healing medicines, spiritual power pills, spirit talismans. What did these even matter compared to the sight before his eyes? But what made Ding Wanping's eyes nearly pop out with jealousy was even more surreal. A figure in purple clothing hesitantly walked over. You're quite enjoying yourself? The stunning beauty of Liu Qingxian, witnessing the scene before her, felt a mix of emotions. Even though she had long heard that Jiang Fan had two wives, one older and one younger. Seeing him with an arm around each, she felt as if sand were sprinkled in her heart, somewhat uncomfortable. Jiang Fan said, Senior sister, do you have any orders? Liu Qingxian glanced at Xu Youran and couldn't help but compare herself. In terms of looks, Xu Youran was her equal. In terms of spirit root, Xu Youran's 7th grade spirit root was also on par with hers. In terms of identity, Xu Youran was Jiang Fan's fiancé, while she was just a senior sister. These comparisons stirred some dissatisfaction within her. Why? She was certainly not inferior. In a slightly challenging manner, she took out a small red bundle filled with various medicines, spirit pills, and talismans, even some low-grade magic artifacts. The amount was several times that of Ding Wanping's. I've prepared some things for you. I hope you find them useful. She handed the bundle to Jiang Fan. Thank you, senior sister. Jiang Fan was about to accept it. But Xu Youran's eyes narrowed slightly. Senior sister Liu, I appreciate your kindness on behalf of my husband. I have already prepared some items for my husband, and Silin will also share with him. No need to trouble senior sister Liu. As a fellow woman, how could she not understand Liu Qingxian's thoughts? If Liu Qingxian wanted to provoke, she certainly couldn't back down. Liu Qingxian's eyes sharpened as she looked at Xu Youran. Me giving something to my junior brother doesn't seem to require your approval, does it? Xu Youran chuckled, then turned to stare at Jiang Fan. Fan, Silin and I don't want you to take things from other women. You decide for yourself. Jiang Fan was speechless. Why were they arguing now? But Xu Youran and Silin were his closest people. There was no way he could let them down, so he could only politely refuse Liu Qingxian's kindness, clasping his hands. Senior sister Liu, Don't say it. Liu Qingxian already knew the answer. She bit her silver teeth and glared angrily at Jiang Fan. You're so heartless. Then she looked at the calm Xu Youran, wanting to say something but stopping herself. Finally, she stomped her foot and left in a huff. Jiang Fan sighed. There was no other way. Even though Liu Qingxian treated him well, if she wanted to compete with his two wives, naturally his wives were more important. He could only wait until they returned after defeating the demon beasts to make it up to her. Chen Silin quietly asked, Sister, why treat her like this? In her memory, Xu Youran wasn't usually this unreasonable. Xu Youran replied helplessly, Do you think I wanted to? This daughter of the sect master is proud. If she has no fate with Fan in the future, it ends there. If there is a chance, should I stop it or not? This, Chen Silin really couldn't answer, because she became Jiang Fan's concubine with Xu Youran's consent. If I stop it, it shows a lack of dignity as the primary wife. But if I don't stop it, do you think the sect master's daughter will be willing to be under us? So, I must make her understand now who is in charge if she wants to join. Chen Silin understood. The apparent argument was actually about establishing hierarchy, to temper Liu Qingxian's ambition. She sighed. It's tough for you to play the bad guy. Xu Youran sighed, glancing at Jiang Fan resentfully. Blame our husband for attracting too much attention. I really don't understand what's so great about him. Why do you all flock to him? Chen Silin stomped lightly in embarrassment, unable to speak. This made Ding Wanping so jealous that he nearly gritted his teeth to pieces. Even Liu Qingxian, the first beauty of the 9th sect, was fighting over Jiang Fan. Why? What made him better than himself? But it didn't end there. A soft and delicate voice suddenly came through. Junior brother Jiang, master asked me to bring you these things. Su Qiuning shrank her neck, cautiously moving her steps while carefully observing Xu Youran's expression. Jiang Fan looked over. There were 2 bundles, one large and one small. The large bundle was brown and contained all sorts of medicines, complete in variety and quantity. More than what Li Qingfeng had given to the 2 disciples combined. This is from my master. to thank you for making the 9-flavor heart-nourishing pills last time that saved her life. Jiang Fan finally understood and accepted the large bundle without hesitation. Then he pointed to the small bundle. "What about this one?" Su Qiuning, feeling guilty, replied. This is also from Master." Snicker. Xu Youran couldn't help but laugh out loud while looking at the pink bundle. Elder Wen at her age still likes pink, how rare. Su Qiuning's face turned red instantly. She quickly lowered her head and stammered, I'll take my leave now." After saying that, she hurriedly left as if fleeing. Jiang Fan said helplessly, "She was thankful that I helped her complete the assessment task. Look how scared she got." Xu Youran innocently shrugged. "She felt guilty herself. I didn't say anything." At this moment, Gong Nan also arrived. He placed a heavy bundle at Jiang Fan's feet, causing the ground to thud. This drew exclamations and speculations from the crowd. What could it be? So heavy, could it be one of the only 3 sets of meridian mysterious iron armor from Carefree Peak? Impossible. That's the treasure of Carefree Peak. Even Gong Nan, as the senior disciple, doesn't have the right to wear it. Why would it be given to an outsider? Jiang Fan was also surprised. He crouched down and opened a small crack in the bundle, revealing a black armor inside. Recognizing it, he couldn't help but exclaim, "Meridian mysterious iron armor? No, I can't accept such a valuable item." He accepted the bundle from Medicine Peak openly because they owed him a favor. There was no need to worry about being obliged. But there was no such favor between him and Carefree Peak, especially since it was such a priceless treasure. "Brother Jiang, please accept it. Otherwise, the Supreme Elder will trouble my master," Gong Nan said with a bitter smile. He still didn't understand why Senior Yellow Xianxia, who hadn't returned to Carefree Peak for over a decade, suddenly came back. He specifically named and wanted Carefree Peak to establish a good relationship with Jiang Fan, also instructing Zhao Wuji to send a set of meridian mysterious iron armor to Jiang Fan, to ensure Jiang Fan wouldn't die outside. Senior Yellow. Upon learning it was the instruction from the Supreme Elder, Jiang Fan bitterly smiled. How could he refuse the goodwill of such a senior? He could only accept it, intending to wear it secretly when no one was around. Gong Nan let out a slight sigh of relief, enviously saying, "This armor can withstand attacks below the 3rd level of core formation. I've been coveting it for a long time without a chance to get it. Wonder what spell you used on the Supreme Elder to get him so bewitched." What? Jiang Fan was shocked. He only knew that the meridian mysterious iron armor was highly defensive, but he didn't expect it to be this formidable. If he accidentally encountered that Beast King, this would give him a better chance of survival. "Please convey my thanks to Senior Yellow. I will personally visit to express my gratitude upon my return." Gong Nan nodded and left, leaving everyone in awe. Wow, Jiang Fan may not be favored by the sect master, but he sure is valued by many big figures. The resources he received are almost more than all the other disciples combined. Ding Wanping looked at the large and small bundles in front of Jiang Fan, then looked at the pitifully small bundle in his own hand, his expression extremely sour. Jealously said, "We are going to slay troublesome demon beasts, not on a picnic. What's the point of having so many things?" Chen Silin covered her mouth and lightly laughed. When Jiang Fan had few resources, he was despised for having no one to care for him. Now having more, he was blamed for being flamboyant. She enjoyed seeing others jealous of Jiang Fan but powerless about it. After the elders distributed resources to their respective disciples, Liu Wuchen gave an order. "Set off!" Over 100 disciples immediately formed their groups and headed toward the designated city. Cloud Sun City bordered Lonely Boat City, but it was much more prosperous and affluent than Lonely Boat City, because Cloud Sun City had a crystal mine. The crystal stones within Green Cloud Sect's territory were harvested from this crystal mine. Its importance was self-evident. Hence, many powerful forces were born there. They consecutively produced renowned strong figures across generations, ruling over areas recognized as martial path families. Many prodigies of the Green Cloud Sect were recruited from these families. For instance, Kojan was a descendant of one such martial path family. "We are about to reach Cloud Sun City." After 2 days of travel, they finally arrived at Cloud Sun City by riding flying beasts. Jiang Fan overlooked Cloud Sun City and let out a slight sigh of relief. "It looks like Cloud Sun City hasn't suffered too much damage." Ding Wanping rolled his eyes. "Of course. Just look at how many martial path families Cloud Sun City has. Unless the Beast King personally comes, there's no way to cause serious damage." A disciple from Reincarnation Peak flattered. Indeed, senior brother Ding's Ding family is one of the 3 major martial path families in Cloud Sun City. With many strong figures in the family, even the city lord shows great respect. On hearing this, the disciples of this group all displayed expressions of astonishment. They never expected Ding Wanping to have such an impressive background. Even Chen Silin looked surprised. This shouldn't be. Someone as flamboyant and high-profile as Ding Wanping had such a deeply hidden background. That was in the past. Ding Wanping revealed a meaningful smile. In the future, there will no longer be 3 major martial path families in Cloud Sun City. There will only be the strongest martial path family, the Ding family. Amid the crowd's confused gazes, Ding Wanping's eyes gleamed with excitement. I received a message from the family. Recently, a Soul Master certified by the Soul Master Association arrived in Cloud Sun City, and our Ding family is fortunate to be his partner. You all should know what a 1-star Soul Master represents, right? Hiss, the group gasped. The Reincarnation Peak disciple who had been flattering them was also shocked. A 1-star Soul Master. That's a rarity even within the 9-sect territory. Some sects still don't have a Soul Master in residence yet. A 1-star Soul Master is a renowned and respected figure in any sect. With the Ding family's connection to such a person, becoming the first family in Cloud Sun City is just a matter of time. Jiang Fan rubbed his chin thoughtfully. Soul Masters were not common. Free Soul Masters were even rarer to an astonishing degree. So far, he knew of only one 1-star Soul Master, Qin Wenyuan, made so frightened by him that he moved his entire family from Lonely Boat City. Now, out of nowhere, another 1-star Soul Master appeared in Cloud Sun City. Could it be Qin Wenyuan? Is the 1-star Soul Master you mentioned by any chance named Qin? Jiang Fan asked. Ding Wanping gave Jiang Fan a surprised look and sneered. You sure have a sharp nose. You managed to find out such a secret, but finding out his surname is your limit. Other information is a top secret only our martial path families can know.